Baseball is brought to you on
Hello from Shea Stadium in New York City. This is Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell. And welcome to the fourth game of the 1969 World Series. The amazing New York Mets, underdogs when this series began, now lead the Baltimore Orioles 2-1. And now, the National League champions, the Mets, find themselves the favorites to win this World Series, a series not many ever thought they'd be in. Today's fourth World Series game is brought to you by Chrysler Corporation, engineering with care. Your host for today, your local Dodge dealer. The Hartford Insurance Group and Hartford agents and brokers everywhere. Gillette, we have a new adjustable razor for a more comfortable shave. The makers of Winston, Salem, and Camel cigarettes. And by STP Corporation, makers of STP oil and gas treatment. The weather today in New York City, crystal clear skies, unlike yesterday's overcast, but also unlike yesterday. Instead of the temperatures in the mid to upper 70s, today at game time, it is 57 degrees, top coat weather, with a high to be in the low 60s or perhaps to the mid 60s. And now the color guard moves out toward the mound, and in a few moments we'll have the playing of the national anthem. In the meantime, this is a replay of the first game of this 1969 World Series. Mike Cuellar, the winningest left-hander in the major leagues. He won 23. And he is the winningest pitcher in the history of the Baltimore Orioles. He also tied Dave McNally for the most complete games for a club record with 18. He won that first game 4-1. Tom Seaver, many say he is the odds-on favorite for the Cy Young Award in the National League. Certainly is the winningest right-hander in the majors, 25 victories. But against Atlanta, in the league championships, Seaver did win the ball game, but was soundly hit by the Atlanta Braves. He came on to start against Cuellar and did not last but about 5 innings. Gil Hodges says that Seaver is due. He has now pitched 5 innings just a matter of days ago. He hasn't had too much rest. Mentally, he is ready. With us again in the NBC broadcast booth, the Baltimore Oriole baseball announcer, Bill O'Donnell. And Bill, the weather today is chilly. It's my understanding that Mike Cuellar likes it warm.
Jim, you're absolutely right. Of course, Cuellar, who was born in Cuba and is very accustomed to the warmer climates, normally is a better pitcher in warm weather. However, during the course of the 1969 season, Cuellar, especially early in the campaign, has pitched on days such as this. And as Jim Simpson pointed out, today is crisp and cool here at Shea Stadium in New York. But as Shea Stadium is most every time, despite the cool and top-coat weather, this will be warm and an excited ballpark just as soon as this ball game gets underway. Perhaps, Jim, the keys to the first 3 games of the World Series have been the combined and great pitching efforts of Taylor, Cardwell, Kuzman, Gentry, and Ryan, and also the first game starter, Tom Seaver, who, although the loser, will come back today and try to become a World Series winner for the first time. The keys to the series, pitching-wise for the Mets, have been exclusively the fact that they've held the likes of Blair, Frank Robinson, Powell, and Brooks Robinson to only 6 base hits in 44 trips to the plate. A fellow like Blair during 1969 had 26 homers, 76 RBIs. Robinson, Frank Robinson, had 32 home runs, 100 RBIs, batted .308. Powell had 37 home runs, batted .304, drove over 121 runs. Brooks Robinson connected for 23 homers, 84 runs batted in. And those 4 power guys combined have only touched the Mets pitching staff, the starters and the relievers, for a measly 6 base hits. Frank Robinson has gone 1 for 9, Brooks Robinson 1 for 9, and Powell 3 hits in 11 trips. So the Orioles in the first 3 games of the series have only collected 5 runs and 12 hits off New York pitching. The Mets, as Jim pointed out, to begin the 1969 series, were decided underdogs. As a matter of fact, they were 8-5 underdogs. Right now, going into Game 4, the Mets are favored to win the series by odds of 6-5. defense has also played a great role in this series. A great role on behalf of the Mets as well as the Orioles. Brooks Robin, for example, in Game 1 on Saturday, made a great come-in play on Gasper's tapper on the grass and threw him out. In Game 2 on Sunday, it was Harrelson and Charles of the Mets who made spectacular plays on balls whacked by Buford and Dave Johnson. In that game on Sunday, Belanger and Brooks Robinson made key defensive maneuvers. And yesterday, perhaps we had the defensive gem of the series, and that was pulled off not once, but twice by Tommy Agee. Once to the 396-foot marker in left center against Elrod Hendricks, and then in the 7th inning, with 2 out and the bases loaded, Agee took a double, perhaps a triple away from Paul Blair with a diving catch on the warning track in right center field. And they've been saying all day here at New York that Agee was responsible for 6 runs yesterday. His first inning home run, and then perhaps the 5 runs that he saved with his glove.
And there's something else, Bill, in that Baltimore today, and going with the left-hander Mike Cuellar, the New York Mets must go back to their all-right-handed lineup. And Gil Hodges, again, has gone back to 9 right-handers in the lineup. And here briefly are the lineups as the players are being introduced to the crowd here under sunny skies at Shea Stadium now. Baltimore has the same lineup against the right-hander Tom Seaver today as they did against the winning right-hander Gary Gentry yesterday. Leading off and playing left field, the switch hitter Don Buford. In center, Paul Blair. Batting third and playing right field, 1 for 9 on the series, Frank Robinson. Boog Powell tied with 2 Mets for the most hits in the series with 3 at first base batting cleanup. Brooks Robinson is at third base. Ellie Hendricks, the catcher, batting 6th. That cheers for the Mets who are now being introduced. Dave Johnson bats 7th and plays at second base. Mark Belanger is at shortstop. Mike Cuellar to repeat 23-11 on the year, and he won that first World Series game in Baltimore 4-1 over Seaver, the pitcher. For the New York Mets, here are all of the right-handers. Tommy Agee leads it off and plays in center field. Bud Harrelson will be at shortstop. Cleon Jones, a .340 hitter, but 1 for 12 for the series in left field. Don Clendenin, 3 for 7, leads everybody in hitting, .429, or the number of times at bat, 3 for 7. Clendenin will bat cleanup. Ron Swoboda will be in right field and bat 5th. Ed Charles will be at third base. Jerry Grody, who has 3 hits like Clendenin and like Boog Powell to lead all players on both teams, will catch and bat 7th. Al Weiss, a .215 hitter who is 2 for 4 and has 2 RBIs in the series, will play second base and bat 8th. And Tom Seaver, 25-7, will pitch and bat 9th. Interesting thing, the leading RBI men in the series are Al Weiss, a .215 hitter with 2 RBIs, and Gary Gentry, a pitcher who only had 1 RBI all last year. The umpires have now walked out to home plate. Shag Crawford of the National League will be behind home plate. Lou DeMuro of the American League will be at first base. Lee Wire of the National League at second. Hank Soar of the American League at third. In left field, Frank Sikori of the National League. And in right field, Larry Knapp of the American League. Now Gordon McRae walks to behind home plate, turns and faces the crowd for the playing and singing of our national anthem.
We don't have an orchestra today, so I have to sing the national anthem, what they call a cappella, which means alone. But the way you sang it yesterday, I won't be alone. I've lowered the key, so let's show the country how the Met fans can sing our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we won so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Mr. Gordon McRae as behind the mound, the Army, Navy, Air Force, and Marine Color Guard under sunny skies at Shea Stadium in this, America's greatest sporting event, the World Series. And Bill O'Donnell and I say hello to you all of the armed forces across the seas, wherever you may be. And we'll say we'll be back with more pregame color right after this message.
Dusk comes fast in the Rockies once the sun drops behind the peaks. Now, the lights of the town turn on.
Hiking down the dusty trail, hear them old coyotes wail. I'd walk a mile for a camel, heading for you nowhere. Gonna get real big flavor there. I'd walk a mile for a camel. I'd walk a mile for a camel. I'd walk a mile, wouldn't you? I got a wandering soul, beat up boots with a great big hole. I'd walk a mile for a camel. I'd walk a mile for a camel.
This message was strictly for smokers who've never tasted a Camel cigarette. Camel smokers, you know what we mean. You other guys, start walking.
Game number 4 in a moment, but first we pause 10 seconds for station identification.
This 1969 World Series game is brought to you in part by Saratoga Vichy and Saratoga Ginger Ale. Sit back and relax with the Fizz Kids from Saratoga.
Casey Stengel, the first manager of the New York Mets, has been introduced. And Casey now winds up with a double lipper with his left hand and throws out the first baseball to Jerry Grote, the Mets catcher. And what a proud moment it is also for Casey Stengel. Again for Baltimore. The batting order, very quickly. Don Buford leads off in left. Paul Blair's in center. Frank Robinson in right. Boog Powell, the cleanup batter at first base. Brooks Robinson at third. Ellie Hendricks, the catcher. Dave Johnson at second. Mark Belanger, the shortstop, and Mike Cuellar, the pitcher. And the Mets now take the field. Clendenon will be at first base. Al Weiss at second. This is the all right-handed batting lineup of Gil Hodges, with which he won one of the first 2 games. He won the second game after dropping the first. Bud Harrelson's at shortstop. Ed Charles at third. Cleon Jones at left. Tommy Agee. What a spectacular day he had yesterday in center field. Funny thing, Agee says his first catch off the bat of Elrod Hendricks was the tougher catch. His manager, Gil Hodges, said, no, it was the second catch you made off the bat of Paul Blair with 3 men on base. In either case, as Bill O'Donnell said, in New York, they'll tell you Tommy Agee not only saved 5 runs, but contributed a 6th himself with a home run to dead center field off a high fastball of Jim Palmer to lead off the first inning. Ron Swoboda is in right field, Grote again the catcher, and Tom Seaver, who won 25 on the year and lost only 7, but lost the first game of this World Series, is the pitcher. And Seaver has yet to make his appearance on the mound. This is baseball's biggest year. More than 28 million have watched baseball this year, and with the amazing New York Mets and the talented Baltimore Orioles in this World Series, baseball for a centennial year, as we said, is having its greatest year. Now still awaiting Tom Seaver, let us turn it over to the Baltimore broadcaster who'll bring you the first 4.5, Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Jim, and hello again, everybody. Tom Seaver now is making his way out to the mound, and he'll start to loosen up a few pitches now with his catcher, Jerry Grody. So while he starts to warm with Grody, let's set the New York Mets defense for you. Charles will be at third base. Harrelson will be the Mets shortstop. Weiss will be at second, and Clendenin will be the Mets first baseman. The left fielder is Jones, the center fielder is A.G., and the right fielder is Svoboda. For those of you who are listening around the country and also around the world today who have neither seen nor been at Shea Stadium, the measurements down the foul lines are equal. 341 feet to left and also out to right. To dead center, it is 410 feet. The power alleys to left center field, 371 feet, and then it breaks away to a deeper left center field pocket to 396 feet. And the same figures prevail in the power alleys in right center, 371 and 396. The distance of the wall out in center field, height-wise up and down, is 8 feet. The Orioles, who during the regular season won the American League Championship, won the Eastern Division of the American League over the Detroit Tigers. Baltimore won 109 ball games and lost only 53. They will lead off in the top of the first inning with Don Buford, and they'll follow with Paul Blair and Frank Robinson. Charles at third base, as the Met third basemen have done every time Buford has come to bat. Charles, playing third today, will come right up to the grass, will play Buford wide of the line. The first baseman, Clendenin, against Buford, despite the fact he pulls, is not guarding the line too tightly. Here we go now, game 4, and Seaver's first pitch. He gets the fastball for a strike on the outside corner. So we're underway with strike 1 to Buford with Paul Blair on deck with Frank Robinson in the dugout. The outfield shades right against Buford. Svoboda is the right fielder a couple of strides in front of that warning track. And there's quite a room on that warning track back to the fence, about 30 feet of it. The coaches, George Stoller at first and Billy Hunter at third. One strike from Seaver. He changes up. He goes in the dirt inside. Seaver spying Grody. Here he goes, 1-1 to Buford. He's on the outside corner with a fastball for strike 2 call. So both of Seaver's strikes have been belt-high fastballs to Buford, and both on the outside edge. Seaver, just 24 years old, 6 feet 1 and 200 pounds. He's ahead 1-2. His pitch is on the way. It is low. Buford began to squeeze the trigger and then looked at the low breaking ball. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Buford in the series is 2 for 11, and he had his 2 base hits in the opening ball game with a home run and a double and produced 2 runs. On the year, he batted .291 in the Baltimore uniform. 2-2 pitch now to be served, and Seaver to the plate against Buford. The fastball is fouled off the left field side and slicing deep out in left field. The count riding to Buford 2-2. We have fellow alums facing each other. University of Southern Cal's Tom Seaver against USC's Buford 2-2. A changeup, cut on and missed. Seaver strikes out Buford on a let-up breaking ball into his hands and over the plate. Out number 1, strikeout number 1 for Tom Seaver. Here's Paul Blair now, the center fielder. Blair has had only 1 base hit in the series, after finishing 1969 against American League pitching with .285 for an average. 1 out, nobody aboard. The windup and Seaver's pitch. Here's a line drive, base hit, and it falls into center field beyond Harrelson and in front of A.G. A 1-out single line to center by Blair. He roped it right over the head of Harrelson, the shortstop. Here is Frank Robinson. Robinson has 1 hit off Met pitching in the series in 9 official at-bats. He has also drawn 3 walks. Frank Robinson finished the campaign batting at .308, had 32 home runs and 100 RBIs. The check of first by Seaver works to Robinson, who swings. He doesn't get it. He got a slider on the outside corner, and Grody also made a bluff throw over to Clendenin with Blair getting back to the bag. Clendenin is policing at first base. Harrelson and Weiss playing a double play depth looking for the ground ball. Charles well off the line at third. Easy move to first base, and Blair beats the toss over by Seaver. 1 strike to Frank Robinson, taking a glancing peek and a quick one out to third base coach Hunter. Now Robinson and Blair often will play run and hit. Blair leads, doesn't go. Here's a fly ball, deep left center field, way back in left center. Agee's on the warning track, at the fence, makes the catch about 2 feet in front of the fence at the 396-foot marker. The ball was hit high and deep, but high enough for Agee to get back and bring it down. Out number 2 in the top of the first inning. A long out off the bat of Frank Robinson. And here's the power now of Boog Powell. Powell just finished his greatest career with the bat in the American League. Batted .304, drove over 121 runs, was second to Killebrew in the American League in producing runs. It's 2 out with Blair off first base. The stretch to the belt by Seaver. A fastball is hit foul upstairs back of the plate. Powell had the Orioles' longest hitting streak of the season. He hit safely in 18 straight games. The longest in the American League was by the Twins outfielder Ted Eulander. Seaver over to first base with his look, pitching Powell. He backs him off with a chest-high fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike to Powell. 1 on, 2 gone in the top of the first inning. Blair had the 1-out single. He roped it to center. Harrelson shades second base from short. Weiss has back to the outfield grass, the second baseman. 1-1 to Powell. A curve is fouled off the left field side to the seats. 1-2 to Powell with Brooks Robinson on deck. Powell suffered 2 injuries during 1969, and neither one kept him out of the lineup for a long time, but both were painful. He suffered a hip injury early in the season at New York, sliding into second base. Also an ankle injury late in the season at Anaheim against the California Angels. Hard move to first base, but Blair is back there ahead of Seaver's throw. Clendenin still holding on Blair. Blair started to edge into his lead and then saw Seaver not make contact. Now he does, and he leads away. The 1-2 pitch to Powell is high. 2 balls and 2 strikes. One of the big improvements that Powell showed this year was against a left-handed pitching in the American League. Fine left-handers like Cotton McDowell. Seaver ready, 2-2. Powell waiting at the plate. Fastball is on the outside corner for strike 3, and that's the top of the first inning. No runs, 1 hit, 1 left. In the middle of the first inning, it's the Orioles nothing, and the Mets are coming to bat.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola to tell you some big news about Dodge. Last model year was a great sales year for Dodge, one of the best ever. And Dodge sales for the month of September were the best in Dodge's history. Let me tell you one of the reasons why. The 1970 Dodge Dart Swinger. It's a reasonably sized, reasonably priced car, sure. It won't put the squeeze on your pocketbook. And you can have it just any way you want it, too. With 6 or V8 engine, manual or automatic transmission. You name it, and the price is still right. So don't think small. Take a good look at 1970 Dodge Dart Swinger at your nearby Dodge dealers. Join the crowd that's giving Dodge sales another big boost. But wait until the game's over and tell them that I sent you. And when you get that Dodge Dart Swinger, we'd like to remind you to drive carefully.
From Shea Stadium in New York, Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell and Tom Seaver, who only went 5 innings the last time, weathered the first inning here, getting Buford leading off on a changeup curve to strike him out. Blair single to center field. Robinson backed Agee deep in center field to haul in his fly ball, and then Boog Powell was caught looking at a fastball in the outside corner. So Seaver has gotten through inning number 1 of this, the 4th game of the World Series, with the Mets leading 2-0. Brooks Robinson has come over to talk to Mike Cuellar, winner of the one game that Baltimore did win on opening day, Saturday in Baltimore. And now Ellie Hendricks walks down. Tommy Agee will be the first batter, and we will take up where we left off yesterday, and that is in that Agee hit a pitch from Jim Palmer, a chest-high fastball over dead center field for the first run of that ball game, which the Mets won, of course, by the score of 5-0. Agee went on for further heroics later in that game, hauling in drives in left center field off the bat of Ellie Hendricks and right center field off the bat of Paul Blair, each time with men on base, the first time with 2 on, the second time with 3 on. So as Agee does step up, and there seems to be a momentary delay, he will get a tremendous hand from this predominantly Met crowd. The temperature about 57 as we begin the bottom of inning number 1. Buford is down in the dugout, and the trainer is bending over him. Now, what has happened to Buford? I don't know. Don did strike out at a changeup curve to lead off the first inning. And he is not in left field, and we may have a change already. But that is why we are having a delay, and they are looking at his leg. He might have a muscle cramp in his left leg in the corner of the dugout. And the umpires, that's one thing about the umpires. The office of the Commissioner of Baseball and Commissioner Bowie Kuhn has instructed his umpires that people come to see a World Series, and they come to see the stars play. So perhaps a player might argue a bit more, discuss things a bit more with an umpire. An umpire will be quick to make sure that the stars stay in the lineup. And so Buford has given a lot of time to work it out. He has come out of the dugout and now trots out to left field. Mike Cuellar looks down at him. And now Bill O'Donnell with the score 0 for the Orioles, with the Mets coming to bat in the bottom of the first. Tommy Agee.
It'll be Agee, Jim, to be followed by Harrelson and Jones in the bottom of the first inning. Buford is okay. He's gone out to left field. He'll have Blair beside him in center, Frank Robinson in right, and an Oriole infield of Brooks Robinson third, Belanger short, Johnson second, Powell first, Hendricks back of the plate, and Agee batting from the right side, leading it off. A slow rainbow curve is in for strike 1 called. Cuellar got a knee-high strike to Agee, who has 1 hit in the series, and that was that home run yesterday in the bottom of the first inning. The 1 strike Cuellar offering is a high curve thrown harder. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cuellar, when he is loose and when he is confident with his best pitch, will throw the screwball 60 to 70% of the time. 1-1 to Agee. A curve and a check swing ground ball to Brooks Robinson at third. Hurries his toss and in time to Powell. Agee tried to yank the bat back. Instead, had a bounding ball go to Brooks Robinson back of the grass at third. On the slow chopper, Robinson had to hurry his toss, but he beat Agee by 2 steps. First out in the bottom of the first inning, and here's the fine Met shortstop, Bud Harrelson. He has gone 2 for 9 in the series. He has played shallow in center by Blair, shallow and right by Robinson. Harrelson bunts down the third base side, foul. It went foul about 12 feet away from the home plate. Harrelson bunted a lot like that during the 1969 National League season. Harrelson, who is a switch swinger, batting today against Cuellar from the right side. Harrelson is 2 for 9 in the series in the first 3 ball games. Baltimore won game 1 4-1. The Mets came back, won game 2 2-1 in Baltimore. Won here yesterday 5-0 behind Gentry and Ryan. 1 strike pitch, a line drive, base hit by Harrelson to left field. He roped it right through the hole on the left side of the infield, and Buford played it out in left field. So both number 2 batters in the order have line singles to the outfield. Harrelson's third hit, and the greeting is for Cleon Jones. Jones is 1 for 12 in the series. The number 3 National League hitter batted .340 with 12 home runs and 75 runs batted in. Jones was second to Agee, knocking over Met runs during 1969. Cuellar leaning forward and checking with the signs of Hendricks. Powell is holding on the runner Harrelson with one gone. The pitch to Jones. A curve is a strike to his knees. Pete Rose led the National League with 348, followed by Clemente with 345, and then Jones at 340. One strike from Cuellar setting at the belt. He moves to first base, but Harrelson, not far off the bag, was back in time. With a runner on and one gone, Belanger at short, Johnson at second, play at double play depth. Another move by Cuellar to first base, trying to keep Harrelson close. Harrelson edges a short lead against the left-hander. Cuellar now just rechecking his outfield, which shows Buford fairly deep in left against the power of Jones. Another set to the belt. Cuellar moves to the plate. A ground ball to the shortstop Belanger. Clips to Johnson, one. Throw to first is a double play. The Oriole infield doubles its pleasure to wrap up the bottom of the first inning. At the end of one in Game 4, it's Baltimore nothing and New York nothing.
Wally Ballou inside the center field scoreboard with Bill Hemmerling, BSO. What's that stand for, Bill?
Ball, strikes, and outs. The 3-aperture job with minimal pressure.
Uh-huh. And I'm told you use regular right guard.
Right.
Shea Stadium, New York City, top of the second inning. Brooks Robinson, Ellie Hendricks, and Dave Johnson to face Tom Seaver and Bill O'Donnell. It'll be interesting to see when Hendricks comes up. Strictly a pulled hitter until yesterday when A.G. made that great catch on him. How Tommy plays him today.
All right, we'll watch for that, Jim, and we'll also watch now as Seaver faces Brooks Robinson. Brooks has been held to one hit by the Met pitching. Produced 23 home runs, drove over 84 in the American League campaign. Brooks bats from the right side. Fastball strike. All the fastballs that Seaver has poured through for strikes, he's kept everything low and to the knees of Oriole swingers. One strike pitch coming to Brooks Robinson. A breaking ball is outside. Seaver's deliveries come from three-quarter style. He's facing Brooks Robinson right now with Hendricks to follow. Leading off the top of the second inning, Robinson swings and it's a bounding ball. One hop to the shortstop, Harrelson. Digs it out, throwing plenty of time to retire Robinson. First out in the top of the second inning. Here is Elrod Hendricks, the Baltimore catcher. 1 for 7 in the series. Yesterday, when Hendricks was batting against the third-game Met starter Gary Gentry threw Hendricks quite a few changeups. And let's see now how the right-hander Seaver does against him now. The right side of the infield pulled back deep, and the outfielder in right, Svoboda, also pulled to right and deep. There's the changeup outside. It didn't get the corner. 1 ball and no strikes. So Seaver starts a similar pattern like Gentry did yesterday to Hendricks. His windup in the 1-0. Fastball. He swings, he misses. That's a ball and a strike. Deep right center is A.G. Backed over into left center is Cleon Jones. 1-1 to Hendricks. He fouls it off to our left and way back upstairs. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hendricks the batter, to be followed by Dave Johnson. Seaver, a 25-game winner, the most wins by any pitcher in the major leagues. He's ahead of Hendricks. Zips in the 1-2 offering. He's low inside, and Hendricks had to back off it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. There is no score with one out in the top of the second inning. 2-2 to Hendricks. Here it comes. Breaking ball is low. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Since Hendricks is strictly a pull hitter, and that's the Mets book on Hendricks, Charles at third plays him extremely wide of the line. 3-2, the pay pitch from Seaver. Fastball is outside. He loses Hendricks. The Orioles have their second base runner in the ball game. Blair had a first inning single. Hendricks walks on 3-2. With one out, he's at first base. And the batter will be Dave Johnson, who is hitless in the series. Johnson had 7 home runs during the year, 57 runs batted in, and batted .280. And he was third in the American League in doubles, following Oliva and Reggie Jackson. Short lead by Hendricks off first base. Seaver to the plate. Here's a ground ball right to Harrelson. Charges. Flips the second one. Throw to first is late. It's not in time. The ball was hit slowly toward shortstop Harrelson. He charged quickly, made an alert quick pickup right at the grass, turned and fired to Weiss for the force play at second base on the sliding Hendricks. Weiss got rid of the ball as quickly as he could. First baseman Clendenin made the long stretch, but Johnson beat the throw for the attempted double play. 2 out now, still a runner at first base. Now it's Johnson there, and the batter is Mark Belanger. Belanger batting 8th in the order. Seaver's peaked to first base. Pitching Belanger, low for ball 1. Belanger, one of the comeback ball players in the National League, raised his average 79 points from what he produced in 1968. The 1-0 to Belanger is on the inside corner at the knees. A strike is called. Belanger's American League average was .287 compared to .208 a year ago. The look to first by Seaver. 1-1 to Belanger. Here's a fly ball out to right field. To the foul line goes Svoboda. And Svoboda can't get to it. It's in the seats just off the foul line in fairly deep right field. By the time the ball landed foul on the seats, Johnson had scampered all the way to third base. Belanger will now come back to the plate, down on the count to Seaver at 1-2. The Met outfield playing Belanger as an opposite field hitter. He'll punch the ball a lot to right field. And Svoboda playing towards the foul line in right field. Agee way to right center. Jones way over to left center. Seaver now has Brody's target and signs. 1-2 pitch on the way with the runner going. Brody throws to second base high, but it's in time. The tag is made by Harrelson. Johnson ran. The throw from Brody to Harrelson was up to his head. Harrelson pulled it down, came down quickly with the tag, and Johnson is out stealing. The catcher, the shortstop, to retire the side. At the end of an inning and a half, it's Baltimore nothing, New York nothing.
Let's do Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle. 1, 2. Down. Riding on a pony. Stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. What did he call it? Macaroni.
After a child has been in a bad accident, how can an insurance company help him to laugh again? The Hartford knows that money alone can't do it, but people can. Doctors, specialists, therapists when they're needed, to treat the injuries, to soothe the shock. And getting them there fast can also help. At the Hartford, we know it's often the kind of help you bring in at the start that determines whether or not there'll be a happy ending. Insurance by the Hartford. We try to keep things simple.
Along with Jim Simpson, we start the bottom of the second inning. Cuellar to Clendenin and a ground foul over towards third and in the box seats. 1 strike to the tall right-hand swinging Mets first baseman Don Clendenin. Clendenin was the only one in the first ball game to get 2 base hits off Cuellar. He also had a second game opposite field home run to right. It's Clendenin, Svoboda, Charles here in the Mets' second inning. A fastball is strike 2, called belt high to Clendenin. Clendenin, the book on him, he's a high fastball slinger. He crouches towards the plate and has a deep knee bend. 2-strike delivery is in the dirt inside. One ball, 2 strikes to Clendenin. Deep left center is Buford against the right-hand slinger. Screwball is low and away. 2-2. Clendenin well off the plate and deep to the box, crouching and leaning towards the plate out of that crouch. Cuellar to Clendenin, 2-2. He backs him off inside to his knees. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Clendenin has doubled, singled, and homered in the series. K pitch from the left-hander, Mike Cuellar. Here's a high fly, deep left field, way back to the fence, over the fence in left field. Clendenin's second homer in the series, better than 360 feet away. Yesterday in Game 3 of the series, in the first inning, Agee played home run to put the Mets ahead. Now it's Clendenin to start the bottom of the second inning with a long ball to put the Mets ahead again. Here's an outside pitch to Ron Svoboda, ball 1. Svoboda is 1 for 7 in the series. And the home run whack by Clendenin has really put this Met crowd alive here at New York. Here's a curve that's high. 2 balls and no strikes. In the first 2 innings, thus far, Cuellar has not thrown too many screwballs. Normally, that is his very best pitch. He's behind Svoboda 2-0. Here's a ground ball to the hole at short. Up with it is Belanger. His long throw in time by 2 steps, and Svoboda is gone. 1 out in the bottom of the second inning with a run home on the Clendenin blade. The Mets' third baseman stepping aboard, and that's Ed Charles. Charles played third base in games 1 and 2 in Baltimore against left-handers Cuellar and McNally. Against Cuellar again in game 4. Here's a foul behind the plate to the upper deck. 1 strike to Ed Charles. Charles is in the middle of the box. Waves the bat from the right side. Cuellar's wind up. Here's a bounding ball, 1 skip to the shortstop. Belanger digs it out, throws high, and is pulled down by Powell for the put-out at first base. Svoboda has bounced to short. Charles now bounces to short. 2 away. And here's the scrappy New York catcher, Jerry Grody, who showed the strong arm in the top half of this inning, throwing out Johnson's attempted steal at second base. Brody has 2 hits in the series, has knocked over a run. Right-hand swinger, swings, and he misses for strike 1. The Mets ahead 1-0, batting with 2 out and the bases empty in the second inning. Low inside is Cuellar's next pitch, 1 ball and 1 strike. Getting back to Clendenin. During the season, only 4 of Don's 12 home runs for the Mets were hit in this ballpark. The others were hit on the road. Cuellar winding, working 1-1. Inside for ball 2. Brody is 7th in the order, and Weiss is on deck. At the moment, Cuellar appears to be a little bit annoyed as he just took a quick glance to the Oriole dugout. Ball 2, strike 1. And the pitch. Swing and a miss. Brody tried to chase an outside pitch and punch it to the opposite field. 2-2 the count to Brody. Cuellar leaning forward, rocks back, and rifles in the 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 on the inside corner. Grody knows it and walks right back to the dugout. So Clendenin's home run, and that's the second inning. At the end of 2 innings of play, New York 1, Baltimore 0.
Tell me, are you a tire kicker? The kind of driver who, when his car's in trouble, kicks the tires, lifts the hood, and scratches his head until some good Samaritan comes along? Tell you a secret. Most drivers are. Most drivers don't know much about fixing cars.
Bill, the Mets are not supposed to be a hitting ball club, but in this series, Clendenin has 2 home runs, Tommy Agee has 1, and Ed Kranepool has 1. The only Baltimore home run was by the switch hitter, not necessarily a power hitter, Don Buford. The first time a Baltimore Oriole, Buford came to bat in the first game of the series. So the Mets are not only out-hitting them percentage-wise, 194 to 133 as a team, but out-homering them 4-1.
Jim Belanger up to the plate again. He was batting in the top of the second inning before Johnson was out stealing. Grody to Harrelson. Belanger up again to start the top of the third. He backs off from an inside Seaver fastball. 1 ball, no strikes to Belanger. He chokes the bat off the knob. He'll be followed by Cuellar and Buford. Winding, Seaver works 1-0. Curve strike, he kept it on the outside edge. 1 ball and 1 strike. Now Shag Crawford, the plate umpire, coming over to the Baltimore dugout, and he does some shouting at Earl Weaver, and Earl Weaver follows Crawford out. Undoubtedly, Weaver has been barking out of the Oriole dugout. Crawford and Weaver still going at it back of home plate. Either Weaver or some member of his ball club in the dugout had been getting on Crawford. And Crawford probably heard too much of it and decided to go to the dugout and tell Weaver about it.
Bill, there's a constant difference of opinion between American and National Leaguers in calling balls and strikes. A National League umpire will work off the inside shoulder, and many times will call what many people figure a strike that is far off the corner on the outside corner. And that last curve low from Seaver was off the outside corner or just on it. Weaver thought it was off it. Crawford thought it was just on it. The American leaguers stand directly over the catcher and look down.
All right, back in play with Belanger ready to take on Seaver at 1 ball and 1 strike. Here's the pitch from Seaver. Fastball, little off the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike.
And I think Weaver's all through. He's disappeared from the dugout.
The 2-1 delivery. Here's a line drive, base hit to the opposite field. Out in right field, played on the first skip by Ron Svoboda. Belanger leads off the top of the third with a base hit to right. That is hit number 2 off Seaver. Here's the Oriole pitcher now, Mike Cuellar.
Now looking into the dugout, Bill, Weaver is whispering something to Brooks Robinson, perhaps order of command now that he's departed.
Clendenin holding and now coming down the line. Cuellar squares, tries to bunt, and let's see what Crawford has called. He's called ball 1. He claims that Cuellar yanked the bat away in time. 1 ball and no strikes. Cuellar, for a pitcher, did drive in quite a few runs during the season. He drove over 5 runs. Belanger gets his lead at first base. Clendenin comes down the line. Charles at third. Here's a looping fly ball. Base hit out to left center field, and a base hit by Cuellar. Cuellar had ran his hands up the bat, squared, then yanked the bat back, took a half cut, and has an opposite field base hit to left. So Belanger went opposite field to right, and now Cuellar, faking a bunt, yanking the bat back, has an opposite field single to left field. 2 straight base hits now off Seaver here in the top of the third. The Orioles have 2 on. They've got something on the fire, and they bring on Don Buford, the leadoff batter. The Mets are leading by a score of 1-0. Don Clendenin hit a bottom of the second inning home run out to deep left. Clendenin comes to the grass, well inside first. Charles is up to the grass at third. 2 runners lead at second and first. Buford waiting. He squares, and he takes the strike down the middle above his knees. One strike to Buford. He was fanned on a breaking ball by Seaver back in the first inning. Belanger a lead at second base. Cuellar a better lead off first base. 1 strike to Buford. And the pitch is in the dirt, but Grody blocks it and keeps it right in front of home plate. Grody got the mitt down on that low dirt pitch. Buford had a notion to bunt, laid off the pitch, and Grody did a fine job blocking it and also keeping the ball right out ahead of him. Billy Hunter, probably, the third base coach, Billy Hunter is probably running the Oriole ball club right now. Belanger short lead at second. Harrelson cheating towards him and trying to keep him close to the bag. 1-1 to Buford. Seaver with a long look to second base. Buford swings away to Clendenin, throws to second for 1 out, and that's all they get. A hard smash to the right side. Clendenin was at the grass, yanked the glove up right by the ear, pulled down the hot smash, threw to second to get the force play on Cuellar. Belanger has advanced from second to third, and Buford is aboard at first base. So Buford swung away, took the full cut, sent a hot shot ground smash to Clendenin, who was playing tight. Clendenin did not budge and took the ground ball immediately, fired to second base, and made the force play. Runners are at the corners with 1 away in the top of the third. Blair single to center in the first inning. 2 on, 1 out. Mets lead by a run. The Orioles have the tie run at third with Belanger. The stretch by Seaver, and his breaking ball is way outside in the dirt, and again a fine save by Grody. Seaver trying to work his way free out of a top of the third inning jam. Belanger led off with a base hit. Cuellar followed with a base hit, and Buford has just bounced into a force play. Blair 2 hits in the series. The look at the corners by Seaver, setting to the belt. The 1-0 is swung on and missed by Blair. 1 ball and 1 strike. Seaver, who has an excellent fastball and comes out of the uniform with his delivery, and very often it's difficult to pick up Seaver's pitch. Belanger off third, Buford off first. Blair on the 1-1. Bunts up in the air to the mound. It takes 1 bounce. Seaver recovers, throws to first base, and in time, Belanger holds at third, and Buford goes to second. Blair bunted, but pushed the ball up in the air. Seaver came off the mound. It bounced to the third base side of the mound, took 1 hop. Seaver recovered, threw hard to first base. He retired Blair on his toss to Clendenin. Belanger stayed camped at third, and Buford has advanced to second base, and the batter is Frank Robinson.
Right fielder,
2 out now.
Robinson. Number 20.
Frank Robinson flied to center field in the first inning. He only has 1 hit in this series. Frank Robinson, who has been named 3 times in the last 4 years to the American League's All-Star team. Both runners in scoring spots. Buford from second, Belanger a couple of steps down the line from third. Seaver winds fully, throws a high fastball to Frank Robinson. 1 ball, no strikes. The Orioles have 3 hits, the Mets have 2 hits, but the Mets lead 1-0. Clendenin's wallop has been the big blow in the early innings. Seaver, quick windup, 1-0. Here's a high pop up to the right side of the infield. Clendenin is in foul ground off the first base side, grabs it, Seaver has pulled out of a big hole, retiring 3 in order after giving up 2 leadoff base hits. At the end of 2.5 innings of play, New York 1, Baltimore nothing.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola. And I want to tell you that Dodge's September sales were the biggest in Dodge's history. Isn't that something? And there's a brand new Dodge model that's going to give Dodge sales a big boost this year. That's Challenger. New entry in the sports compact field. Gripping the road with a wide stance that says solid and priced to compete with the pony cars. Now that alone makes Challenger different. Everything from a gas-saving 6 to Dodge's tremendous 426 Hemi V8. And Challenger has more models to offer than any other in its class to boot. Stop around at your nearby Dodge Boys. See Challenger for 1970, one of the reasons for Dodge's spectacular September sales record. Now, at your nearby Dodge dealers, and tell them that Joe Garagiola sent you. And when you get in that new Challenger, the Dodge Boys and myself would like to remind you to be sure and drive carefully.
Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell under clear and cool skies in New York Shea Stadium. The 4th game of the 1969 World Series. The Mets lead it 1-0 on Clendenin's home run. And Al Weiss, who was the hero of the 2nd game, a .215 hitter, will lead it off in a ball game that has had everything, including manager Earl Weaver of Baltimore, being thrown out of the game. Bill?
Al Weiss starts it off, and Cuellar starts him off with a fastball strike. Weiss is the number 8 batter. Seaver will be next, and then A.G. the leadoff batter. Bottom of the 3rd, game 4 of the World Series. The Mets ahead 1-0. Breaking ball is inside of the right-hand swinging Weiss. Ball 1 and strike 1. Weiss has 2 runs batted in this series. The 1-1. Swing and a miss on the screwball from Cuellar. A ball and 2 strikes. Cuellar throws fastball, slider, hard screwball, soft screwball, and short rainbow curve. Ground ball to Brooks Robinson, backing up at third. Off his glove, recovers, makes no throw to first base. A hard ground smash, well inside third. Brooks tried to play the short hop. It hit off his glove, off his leg, came to the grass. Brooks picked it up, looked to Weiss going to first base, and realized he had no play. The batter now will be the Mets pitcher, Tom Seaver. We're waiting to find out whether it's a hit or an error on Brooks Robinson. Weiss off first base and nobody out. Seaver squares, bunts over the pitch and misses strike 1. A base hit has been given to Weiss. Weiss short lead at first base. Seaver down on the count, 1 strike. Squares, the pitch is low, and it's dug out by Hendricks. 1-1 to Seaver. Looking now for some flashing signs from third base coach Eddie Yost. Yogi Berra on the other side, keeping his eyes glued to the runner Weiss and also to Cuellar's motion. Seaver squaring again. The pitch is low, and he holds off it for ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike. Harrelson, Clendenin, and Weiss have the base knocks off Cuellar. Cuellar leaning forward, now setting back to the belt. His 2-1 pitch is an attempted bunt, and it's missed by Seaver. 2 balls and 2 strikes. On every pitch to Seaver, Robinson from third, Powell from first have been charging down the lines. Robinson at third stays tight. He is not on the grass. Powell goes back to the bag to hold against Weiss. 2-2 pitch. Seaver squares, bunts, and foul tips it, and he's out of there, bunting on a 2nd strike. Seaver tried to bunt on the 2nd strike, got a piece of it, fouled it off, and that gives Cuellar a strikeout. 2 strikeouts for Cuellar. Out number 1 in the bottom of the 3rd. And here's the leadoff batter who was the toast of New York last night, Tommy Agee. Agee's first trip in the 1st inning. He grounded out 3rd to 1st. Weiss is the runner. Powell is still holding. Weiss a short lead against the left-hander Cuellar. His soft curve is in for a strike looking to A.G. Deep left for A.G. is Buford. Straight away, normal depth center is Blair. Frank Robinson pushed back in right. The 0-1. Here's a line drive, base hit to the alley in left center. Run down by Buford. Weiss a big turn at second and stays there. A.G. has his second base hit in the series. It is the second hit off Cuellar this inning. So 2 Mets are aboard with 1 out, and the batter will be the shortstop, Bud Harrelson. Hendricks is making a visit to the mound to talk to his left-hander Mike Cuellar. Has a short visit now and walks his way back. A.G. just ran to single to left. He's at first base. Weiss at second with 1 out. Harrelson had the Mets' first base hit of the ball game in the first inning. The infield playing halfway on the right side to Harrelson. Set on the pitch, a swing and a foul ball right back behind the catcher Hendricks. Jim Harden, a right-hander, begins warm-up activity in the Baltimore bullpen out in left field. Yesterday, in the early innings, when Jim Palmer was having control problems, Harden and Lopez were up quite a few times. 2 runners are leading at second and first. Cuellar has 1 strike to Harrelson. A curve, a ground ball to second baseman Johnson, pulls it down. Hurried throw to Powell just in time at first base. Powell was playing well off the first base side. Johnson had to roam far to his glove side near the outfield grass. Harrelson tried to punch a base hit to right field, and as Powell came back to the bag, he had to turn quickly and take the throw from Johnson. But the 2 runners advance on the ground out by Harrelson. A.G. goes to second. Weiss has moved to third. There are 2 gone, and the batter is Cleon Jones. Jones bounced into a first inning double play. Jones is one of the members of the Gil Hodges New York Mets who is not platooned, and of course with good reason. He has batted well against both right-handers and left-handers. A.G. at second, Weiss at third and 2 out. Here's a foul right off the end of Jones' bat, just outside the Mets' first base dugout. Against left-handers, Jones batted .344 during the season, .338 against right-handers. Cuellar with runners behind him at second and third, glancing to third. His full windup on the 1-strike pitch. A ground ball to Brooks Robinson at third, digs it out, throws and in time to first baseman Powell. Brooks Robinson went to his glove side. Jones has been thrown out. In the Mets' third inning, no runs, 2 hits, 2 left after 3 innings of play. New York 1, Baltimore nothing.
Blair. Writes the way you feel. Feel angry? Right angry. Blair. Feel happy? Right happy. Blair. Feel sad.
The New York Mets came within a couple of steps of breaking this, the 4th game open, with 2 men on base. Davy Johnson made a fine play on Bud Harrelson's ball, and not everybody would have had the ground ball off the bat of Cleon Jones. But the great Brooks Robinson did, so it's still 1-0 New York as we move to the 4th and Boog Powell and Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Jim. Powell has been up once against Seaver, and he looked at strike 3 against the right-hander in the first inning. A curve. He took something off it, and he gets strike 1. Seaver has 2 breaking pitches. He throws his slider hard, and when he throws his curveball, he takes a little something off it. He did and got the strike to Powell. Powell to be followed by Brooks Robinson. 1 strike to Big Boog. Fastball backs him off into his knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Seaver during 1969, people figured that the longer he threw, the better his fastball became. In the late innings, his fastball as good as he was in the early innings. Curve, a ground ball to the right side, fielded by second baseman Weiss, throws to first in time to Clendenin. Powell retired on a chopping ground ball to second baseman Weiss. That's the first out in the top of the 4th inning. The Mets are leading 1-0, and the batter is Brooks Robinson. Robinson rolled out short to first in the second inning. Seaver giving Brody a long look, now winds and he works. Swing and a miss on that hard slider. He kept it down into the outside edge. Brooks Robinson on the 1-strike pitch from Seaver. Swings and it's a towering fly ball down the left field foul line. It's going to foul ground. Chased by Charles and Harrelson. It is Charles for the putout down by the rolled up tarpaulin about 50 feet away from third base.
Catcher.
Brooks Robinson has fouled out.
Hendrick. Number 10.
2 away in the top of the 4th. Since Seaver gave up base hits to Belanger and Cuellar in the 3rd inning. Seaver has now retired 5 in a row. Here is Hendricks, who walked on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd inning. He bats from the left side and he pulls. So Clendenin guards the line tightly at first base and is deep. A check swing on a low Seaver fastball. 1 ball and no strikes to Elrod Hendricks. Before Elrod Hendricks was picked up by the Orioles and was playing in the Mexican League, he was known as the Babe Ruth of Mexico. A change-up and a big balloon pitch is low. Seaver just changed up and threw that big balloon rainbow toss, and it dropped right under Hendricks' knees. 2 balls and 1 strike. Seaver back quickly again. With the fastball, bounce to the right side. Backhanded by Clendenin. Throws to Seaver low, but Seaver gets it. A fine play by both Seaver and Clendenin. Clendenin a backhanded pickup, threw low, and Seaver may have been spiked by Hendricks as he hit the bag. Seaver had to reach down and make a good catch. That wraps up the top of the 4th at the end of 3.5 innings. New York 1, Baltimore 0.
2nd floor, refrigerators, formerly 109.
Fire in your home today and had to replace everything. This is what you'd find when you went shopping.
3rd floor, living room sofas, formerly $210, now $225. Going up?
Basic things have gone up 5, 10, 20%. Then there's the cost of your house itself. This is why the Hartford invented Inflation Guard, the first homeowner's insurance policy that protects you against inflation automatically. To keep up with rising replacement costs, the Hartford boosts the value of your policy every 3 months.
6th floor, rugs.
New Inflation Guard. The way prices are always going up, can you afford to be without it? Insurance by the Hartford. We try to keep things simple.
Right now, we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
WGY, Schenectady.
The difference between the right word and the wrong word, it's been said, is like the difference between lightning and lightning bug. Which brings to mind the difference between Saratoga Vichy and its drab alternative, tap water. It's a choice between a unique, fascinating mixer or the same lackluster liquid with which one washes automobiles and oneself. Saratoga Vichy, in that green bottle with the vivid yellow label.
As Don Clendenin steps up here in the 4th inning for the New York Mets, who lead 1-0. A note here, Earl Weaver ejected. Nobody can remember, Bill O'Donnell, a manager ever being thrown out of a series game before.
Don Clendenin swings and misses on Cuellar's screwball, offering strike 1. Clendenin, who has 2 home runs in the World Series. Game 2 and Game 4 today to begin the bottom of the second inning. 1 strike to tall Clendenin. Swings and misses the other screwball. We say the other screwball because Cuellar threw the hard screwball to set up Clendenin and then threw him kind of the soft screwgee. 2 strikes to Don Clendenin to be followed by Svoboda. 2-strike pitch, low outside. That's a ball and 2 strikes. In the 4th inning, it's a run, 4 hits for the Mets. No runs, 3 hits for Baltimore. Cuellar rocking back, comes forward 1-2. Strike 3 on the outside corner to the tall Clendenin's knee. A strikeout starts off Cuellar against the Mets in the bottom of the 4th inning. It is Cuellar's 3rd strikeout, and here is the right fielder, Ron Svoboda. Svoboda grounded out short to first in the 2nd inning. The outfield plays in straight away. Svoboda up towards the front of the box, batting from the right side. Swings and he misses another screwball. So now in the 4th inning, Cuellar leaning with the best pitch that he's used all season. He did not throw the screwball too much in the early innings of play. His 1-strike fire. Another screwball and a swing and a miss for strike 2. All of Cuellar's screwballs to Clendenin and Svoboda have been on the outside edge of the plate. He's been biting the corners, and the Mets have been swinging and not connecting. Svoboda on the 0-2. Hits a ground ball past the mound, over second base, and out to center field. So Cuellar, who was way ahead 2 strikes, made too good of a pitch. It looked like he tried to waste a low fastball, but put it up into Svoboda's belt. A 1-out single up the middle, and the batter is Ed Charles, the 3rd baseman. 5 hits now off Cuellar by the Mets. The checker first by the left-hander Cuellar. Throws low for a ball to Charles. Game 5 of the World Series here tomorrow. It will be a matchup of left-handers, Dave McNally against Jerry Kuzman. 1-0 to Charles. He has to sit down and twist away, and he may have been hit by the pitch. Crawford has not motioned him to first base as yet, and I think Charles is claiming he was hit on the hand. And Crawford is not allowing Charles to go to first base. And Gil Hodges is walking out to home plate to also check on Charles and perhaps check with Crawford. Gus Mosh, the New York Mets trainer, is also out there to look at Charles' hand. And now Hodges has a few pleasant words with the plate umpire, Shag Crawford. In the 3rd inning, Crawford thumbed out the Oriole manager, Earl Weaver. And as Jim Simpson commented a couple of moments ago, everybody in the press section, to our right, has gone back and checked on their history and their memories of World Series in the past, and nobody remembers a manager ever being thumbed out of a World Series before. So on the check swing by Charles, the ball glanced off the bat, then, according to Crawford, hit Charles on the hand. So it's simply a foul tick strike. 1 ball, 1 strike to Charles. The ball hit on the bottom of the bat and then off the left hand. Short lead at first base by Svoboda. The look in the pitch is low from Cuellar. 2 balls, 1 strike. The Oriole infield leaves the hole open on the left side between Brooks Robinson and Belanger. Johnson playing over near the bag at second base. 2-1 to the right-hand swinging Charles. He swings and he misses for 2.
From New York, this is Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell, and this is the fourth game of the 1969 World Series. The Mets lead in the series 2-1. They lead the ball game 1-0 on Don Clendenin's second home run of the series over the 3:58 mark in left field. That came in the second inning. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Mets. No runs, 3 hits for the Orioles. No errors, and Tom Seaver to lead off in the fifth by pitching to Davy Johnson.
Johnson has been up once, and he bounced into a forced play back in the second inning. Seaver goes to the plate with a breaking ball. He's in the dirt with an outside low. Now, Seaver, when he's taken something off that curveball of his, a lot of them have found the dirt low to Oriole batters. 1-0 to Johnson. The fastball fouled right back. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Orioles are at the lower third of the order. Johnson, Belanger, and then the pitcher, Cuellar. The Mets are leading 1-0. The Orioles batting in the top of the fifth. 1-1 delivery. Swing and a foul. He was jammed by a fastball into his hands. It's Dave Johnson beginning the top of the fifth inning. Seaver's curve. Here's a looping fly ball. Back into shallow left. On comes Jones. Takes a diving catch in left field. Leon Jones has just made the fielding gem of this ball game. A looping fly ball and a tough play for Jones. Charged in, put the glove down right on top of the grass and held onto it right in the fingertips. And he did not trap it. He held onto it, held it up in the air, and showed the left field umpire, Frank Sikori, that he stayed with it. So Johnson has been retired on a fabulous catch by Jones. And the batter is Mark Belanger, another right-hand cutter. He's curved and he bunts in front of the plate. Picked up by Grody. Throws in time to first base. Belanger tried to bunt his way on. Bunted towards the first base foul line about 8 feet away from home plate. Grody charged out, smothered the bunt, and has thrown out Belanger for out number 2.
Mike Cuellar.
So the scrappy Grody made the alert pickup in the strong toss. 2 gone, and the batter will be Mike Cuellar. Cuellar singled to left field in the third inning off Seaver. 2 out, bases clean, top of the fifth. Fastball is right down the middle. He rifled it and buzzed it to the belt of Cuellar. Seaver winding. Pitches again 0-1. Another fastball, this time cut on and missed. 0-2 to Cuellar. Seaver's fastball humming here on the top of the fifth inning. He winds again. 2-strike pitch, outside. He has thrown 3 straight fastballs to Cuellar. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 gone, top of the fifth inning. The windup and the 1-2. Low outside, a breaking ball. 2 balls, 2 strikes. 2-2 from Seaver. Swing and a miss on a fastball. And Seaver has his second straight 1-2-3 inning. At the end of 4.5 innings of play in Game 4, New York 1, Baltimore 0.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola. You want to know something? Last month was the best September for Dodge sales in their history. And one of the reasons is the new
Bill O'Donnell along with Jim Simpson in the middle of the ball game here at New York Shea Stadium. And as we go to the bottom of the fifth inning, it's the Mets, 1 run, 5 hits, no errors. Baltimore, no runs, 3 hits, and no errors. In the bottom of the 5th inning, it will be Grody, Weiss, and Seaver for the Mets. We had home run power explode here yesterday. We've had home run power explode here today by Clendenin in the 2nd inning. We had 2 amazing catches made in the ballpark yesterday by Agee, the center fielder. In the top of the 5th inning, we had a diving, amazing catch made by Jones in shallow left field on Dave Johnson's looping fly ball. Jerry Grody is leading off the bottom of the 5th inning, and to tell you all about it, with pleasure, here is Jim Simpson.
Thank you, Bill O'Donnell. Cuellar to throw to Grody, who is 3 for 12 on the series. Struck out looking, guessing wrong in the 2nd, and takes ball 1 from Cuellar. Cuellar has only given up 5 hits, but one of them was the home run by Don Clendenin. Left-hander won the first game of the series 4-1 at Baltimore. Ready to throw under sunny skies, comes back with a breaking pitch, which is fouled off. Now down in Baltimore, Cuellar started out with the screwball. And a simple explanation of what the screwball is, to a right-handed batter, it will go down and away from the right-hander. Then he went to the curves and the fastball later in the innings at Baltimore. Here, he started out with more curves and fastballs. Now going back to the screwball. Swing and a miss by Grody, and it's 1-2. Baltimore having a tough time scoring against strong New York Met pitching. And it is the Mets who have supplied the power since the first game, not the Orioles. They are ready. Back again with the fastball, and Grody strikes out for the 2nd time, this time swinging, and that's the 5th strikeout for Mike Cuellar. Mike has not walked anybody in facing these 9 right-handers, and here is Al Weiss, who on the series is 3 for 5, has walked twice, driven in 2. He is tied with Gary Gentry, and now Don Clendenin, who has added his 2nd RBI today with a home run. Strike 1 called from Cuellar. Not yet on deck, Tom Seaver, the pitcher. Wind blowing from left to right. Cuellar taking a long time, looking at his catcher. Hendricks is now ready and throws. Ground ball between the third baseman and shortstop, fielded by Buford, and Al Weiss is now 4 for 6 on the series, and 2 for 2 in this game.
Pitcher, Tom Seaver, number 41.
That's the 2nd time as Seaver comes up in the last 2 innings that Cuellar has had a man 0-2. He had Svoboda 0-2 in the 4th, and Weiss 0-2 here in the 5th, and both times made his pitches a little too good and gave up the base hit. Seaver was called out bunting foul with the 3rd strike in the 3rd. Failing to move the runner over, he'll try to do it again. Robinson coming in, bunts the ball foul behind the plate, as both Boog Powell and Brooks Robinson charging from 1st and 3rd. In a game such as this, and the ones that we've seen lately, in which Baltimore, after getting 4 runs on Saturday, got only 1 on Sunday, none yesterday, had none today. A 2nd run for the Mets, a big 2nd run, and for the Orioles, they cannot afford to give it up. A 1-strike pitch. Seaver standing there as though to swing, and will swing, but the ball is off the corner outside. It's 1-1. Steps out and looks down to Eddie Yost again, the third base coach. Yogi Berra at first. Shag Crawford, the National League umpire behind the plate, threw out manager Earl Weaver of Baltimore back in the 3rd inning. Nobody can remember if a manager's ever been thrown out of a series game before. And it was a quick thump. 1-1. Seaver still to swing. The Belanger has a chance for the double play. Scoops it to Johnson. Johnson back to first. 2 down and no run. 1 hit, no errors, and none left. And at the end of 5, the Mets still lead 1-0.
Lee Ballou on the field with some baseball greats, finding out what kind of people use which kind of right guard. First, Ricky Llewellyn, who uses right guard antiperspirant. Rick, tell us about your great groundskeeping team.
Well, our primary
Along with Jim Simpson, Bill O'Donnell back with you at New York Shea Stadium. The Mets are ahead in Game 4 by a score of 1-0. When Jim and I were offering our pregame comments, both about today's game and also a little bit about the history of the first 3 games of this series, we chatted about how effective the Mets pitching had been against the power fellows in the Orioles attack, namely Blair, Frank Robinson, Brooks Robinson, and Powell. After the first 5 innings of this 4th game, coupled with the first 3 ball games, Met pitching has held the likes of Blair, the 2 Robinsons, and Powell now to only 7 base hits in 52 at-bats. Buford to lead off the top of the 6th inning. And to tell you all about it, Jim Simpson again.
Don Buford is 2 for 13 on the series, got his 2 hits in the first game. The first one, a home run on the second pitch he saw, also a double in that same game. And Buford 0 for 2 today, was caught looking on a changeup curve. He had a vicious ball into the ground to the right side of the plate, but Clendenin went high to glove it and throw on to second to pull the force on Cuellar back in the 3rd inning. 0 for 2 today, and takes a breaking pitch that's too high, and it's ball 1. Buford to be followed by Paul Blair and Frank Robinson. As the Orioles are looking for runs, and Seaver's very tough, back with a fastball, and Buford swings on and misses. Strike 1, 1-1. Jim Palmer, yesterday's loser, is a winner today. Happy birthday to the Baltimore pitcher, who is 24. 1-1. Fastball fouled back by Buford. A switch hitter and batting left, of course, against the right-handed Tom Seaver. 25-game winner throughout the season. Won the first game over Atlanta, 9-4, but was relieved in that one, and failed to last after 5 in the opening of the series down in Baltimore. 57,367 outside from Seaver. It's 2-2, and that's a bigger attendance than we had here yesterday. Seaver ready, ground ball, Clendenin backing on it. Seaver over to cover, the other-handed throw, and the play at first, and Buford is out. Yesterday, we had 6,335, but I think you get the idea. There are plenty of Mets and fans here in Shea Stadium. Blair singled on a 2-2 fastball to center back in the first inning and bunted and was thrown out. Not sacrifice bunting, but bunting attempting to score Belanger from third back in the 3rd inning. Not a suicide squeeze. And Belanger had to hold on to third, and Blair was thrown out by Seaver. 1-0, New York. We're in the 6th inning, and Seaver facing Paul Blair. Breaking pitch, curve, bounces in front of the plate, ball 1. Blair is now 1 for 14 on the series and season. Finished not hitting too well, but then when they got to the league championships, Paul blossomed once again. Fastball, but high, and it's 2-0 to Blair with Frank Robinson on deck. Robinson came up with 2 men on in the 3rd and fouled out. Back in the 1st, he flied deep to center field to Agee on the warning track. Seaver ready and throws low again, and it is 3-0 to the tying run, Paul Blair. Seaver steps off the mound, faces center field, adjusts his cap, wipes his brow, and now steps back. 3-0, and Blair has his sign from Billy Hunter, now running the ball club since manager Earl Weaver's been thrown out, and this one is right down the middle. Strike 1, 3-1. Now Blair takes a look again at Billy Hunter at third base, the coach. Temperature at game time about 57 degrees. Here's the 3-1 pitch from Seaver, and it's off the corner, and it's ball 4, and that's the second walk given up by Seaver.
Right fielder, Frank Robinson.
Frank Robinson, as we said, has flied deep to Agee and has fouled out, and Frank Robinson is one of those men that very seldom, if ever in his career in the major leagues, got the bunt sign to move the man over. This is the fella, even though he is 1 for 11 on the series, can untie this series right now. Blair leads off at first base. Seaver's ready. Stretch, the look, and the throw. Breaking pitch hit high in the air in the infield, but Harrelson at shortstop says he's got it and takes it 2 down. with men on base in the last 2 times he's been at bat. Robinson has popped up, once in foul territory to Clendenon and now to Harrelson. Here is Boog Powell with 3 base hits. Only one man in the series has more, and that's Don Clendenon with 4. Powell was caught with a fastball on the outside corner to strike out in the first and hit a curveball and grounded to Weiss at second in the 4th. Boog had 37 home runs during the regular season and a monumental 121 RBIs. 3 for 13 in the series. Seaver ready, throws way outside, ball 1. Blair still perched at first base, but now with 2 down after drawing the walk from Tom Seaver. On deck, Brooks Robinson, who has contributed a fielding play to get Mike Cuellar out of trouble. Big curve, stays outside, and it's 2-0 now to Boog Powell. And Seaver finds himself down to the very dangerous Powell. Big, strong, 240-pound left-handed hitter. One of the mismatches of the century yesterday was when Powell and Weiss tangled, or rather Harrelson tangled at first base. Interference was called outside with a fastball, and it's 3-0. 1 run, 6 hits, no errors for the Mets. The 1 run, Clendonon's second homer of the series. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. And it is 3-0, and if Powell should walk, Blair would advance to scoring position down to second base. Let's see whether or not Boog is taking on 3-0. He's swinging, ground ball. It is fouled at the plate and off the left foot, apparently, of Boog Powell, who is using his bat as a crutch now, hobbling about. Now it's his right foot. So it is 3-1. And there's daring baseball for you and gambling baseball. What the Orioles are playing, they haven't been able to score off Mets pitching, and with the big, strong Boog Powell, the left-hander facing the right-hander, on 3-0. In the 1-0 ball game, they gave Boog Powell the green light to swing for the fences. 3-1. Powell back in and ready. Seaver's ready. Blair leads off. Blair's running on the 3-1. He swings and misses again, and it is 3-2. So Billy Hunter, the acting manager, had Paul Blair off and running on 3-1.
Jim, Powell is still limping on that foul ball that hit him off the right foot. Earlier in the season at Anaheim, Powell suffered a very painful injury to his ankle, and an ankle injury that kept him out of a lineup for quite a few days, and he's feeling now pain on the other foot.
3-2, 2 out. Blair will be off and running for sure this time. And Boog Powell had a 3-0, swung at the 3-0 pitch, the 3-1 pitch, fouled them both off. Ready now. Seaver checks to Blair at first, knowing full well that he'll be on his way. Blair is taken off. Here's the pitch. High drive, center field. Agee over to his right, not too deep. Taps his glove and takes it for the 3rd out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. In the middle of the 6th, the New York Mets continue to lead Baltimore 1-0.
When a company buys an expensive new piece of equipment to improve production, it can be buying an expensive new source of accidents, too. That's why it's always a good idea to bring in a man from the Hartford. The Hartford has over 200 loss control specialists on call at any time for any of its customers to help them set up control measures and programs for safe operation of machinery and daily activities. At the Hartford, we know it's possible to prevent most accidents before they happen because we have respect for the equipment and even more for the men behind it. Insurance by the Hartford. We try to keep things simple.
Let's pause 30 seconds for station identification.
WGY, Schenectady.
Saratoga ginger ale is not Saratoga Vichy with ginger flavor added. We're not sure where that rumor got started, though we have our ideas. In any event, what Saratoga ginger ale is a quite unusual, delicious drink with its own identity altogether. It's gingery without being snappish, mellow without being gooey, altogether luscious. But then the Saratoga people do everything in good taste.
Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell, and Tommy Agee swings on the first pitch. Brooks Robinson comes to his left and has plenty of time to throw him out, and there's one out in the Mets' sixth inning of this 1-0 ball game. And that is the first time in the game that a Met has been swinging on the first pitch. Here's Bud Harrelson, who's hit a 2-2 pitch for a single to left, and was thrown out on a close play by Johnson, who went back on the grass. Powell was off the line, and Boog Powell narrowly didn't get back to first base in time to get Harrelson, but he grounded out. Bunt, foul, and just did squeege foul. Speaking of the Orioles, who wound up the year as a team hitting .265 with 779 runs, 175 home runs. Be advised, they're scoreless against Mets pitching. In the last 17 innings, they've had only one run in the last 28 innings this year. Trailing 1-0. Here's the pitch. High into the infield. A.B. Johnson on the grass at second base, backing, looking, and taking it for the second out of the sixth inning.
Left fielder.
We'll bring up Cleon Jones. Hit .340 during the regular season, but thus far in the series is 1 for 14. The last time he was up, he grounded out in the first inning, but the last time he was up, there were men on base at second and third, and Brooks Robinson ranged to his left, got the glove on the ball, and threw him out with a patented Brooks Robinson play. Glendenin's home run, the second of the series, the only run of this, the fourth game of the World Series. Cuellar in the first game gave up 6 hits. He's given up 6 hits in this game, but he trails 1-0. Ground ball, hard shot to Belanger. Has a little trouble with it, but recovers in time to throw out Jones. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left. And now we've gone 6 full innings, and the Mets lead 1-0.
Some men have average-size hands. Some men have big hands. For men with average hands, Gillette introduces our new adjustable razor with an average-size hand.
Bill O'Donnell along with Jim Simpson and our very able producer Len Dillon. 6 inning totals, 1 run, 6 hits, no errors for the Mets, no runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. And here's the equally able Jim Simpson.
Thank you, Bill. Here's Brooks Robinson to lead it off in the 7th inning. Time running out for the Orioles, but they trail 1-0. Brooks Robinson 1 for 14. And Seaver ready, throws him a breaking pitch outside and low. It's ball 1. Brooks back in the second inning hit a hard shot on one hop to Harrelson, who threw him out. And then Ed Charles caught his foul ball. And here's another pop foul, but this one, I believe, will be out of play. Grody is in, and it drops very deep in the stands behind home plate. Ed Charles caught his foul ball in the 4th inning down near the tarp in left field. Brooks, upon hitting the foul, never left the batter's box, is standing there even now, although Grody has not gotten back to his catching position, swinging the bat, feet planted, staring out at Tom Seaver. This is a big game for the Mets, naturally, to go out in front 3-1, but for the Orioles, who would like to even it up. Fastball is outside, and it's 2-1 to Robinson. And the Orioles only need a run. But Robinson, Powell, Frank Robinson, Paul Blair have not been producing in this series. Seaver ready. And throws. Fouled again. It'll make the seats again, and it's 2-2. Brooks was 7 for 14 against Minnesota in those league championships. And one game was 4 for 5. That was the first game, which Baltimore went 13 innings to win. A thriller. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Seaver. Ground ball. Charles charges in, takes it on the second hop, throws on, and Robinson is out. Here is Ellie Hendricks. Walked on the 3-2 pitch and grounded out in the fourth inning. Dick Hall now up and throwing, and if Baltimore gets something going, perhaps that will be all for Mike Cuellar. But thus far, Baltimore's not been able to get anything going. Hendricks has home run power, 12 on the year. Tommy Agee is right in right center field now, where he was yesterday when Hendricks went to left center, and Agee made the first of his two great catches. Tommy says the one off Hendricks was his best. Fouled back, and it's strike one. Hendricks now 1 for 8 on the series. Tall left-handed catcher, and he and Andy Etchebarren are the only changes that manager Earl Weaver makes in his lineup, depending on whether they're facing a left-hander or a right-hander. Seaver ready with the strike one pitch. Hendricks hits it off the fist, backs Harrelson up at shortstop on the grass. Should be the second out and is. Seaver's retired 14 of the last 15, but in getting Brooks Robinson and Ellie Hendricks in this, the seventh inning, has looked most impressive. The ball hit by Robinson, the ball hit by Hendricks. Neither one hit well, and the batters fooled on the pitch. Here's Dave Johnson, who reached on a forced play and was thrown out attempting to steal, and Cleon Jones with a diving stab at his Texas leaguer in the fifth robbed him of a base hit. Swing and a miss, strike one. The Mets won. The Orioles nothing. And as they say, who would have thunk it? The Mets fans would. The Oriole fans still can't believe it. The strike one pitch, curveball outside corner, and it's strike two. Johnson turns around and says something to Shag Crawford, who has already thrown his manager, Earl Weaver, out of the game. Seaver more confident than we ever saw him in Baltimore in the first game or in Atlanta in the league championships. Has gotten stronger as the innings go on. Comes back with the fastball. It just misses outside. And some of the Met fans do not believe it did. Tom, a fast worker, is ready to go again. The 1-2 pitch to Davy Johnson, and he strikes out. Strikeout number 4. And another perfect inning for Tom Seaver. No runs, hits, or errors, or anybody left. In the middle of the seventh, those amazing Mets won. Baltimore, nothing.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola. Have you seen the new 1970 Dodge Monaco yet? If you have, you know one of the reasons why Dodge sales last month were the best ever for September. Because Monaco is so big, so luxurious, so roomy, lots of people want it. Monaco is one of the roomiest of all American cars. Has new torsion quiet ride that cushions the body on its undercarriage for a new kind of silence. Yes, sir, torsion quiet ride, and that cushions the body on its undercarriage for a new kind of silence. A great car to drive, to ride in, to have parked in your driveway. And the price is right on Monaco. Just one of the reasons why 1970 Dodge sales started off on such a high note. And there are plenty more reasons. Your nearby Dodge dealer has a wide selection of models and colors to choose from. See them today. You could be Dodge material.
Well, the Mets are now coming up in the bottom of the seventh inning, and let's go downstairs to Tony Kubek.
Baseball's all-time great, Stan Musial and Stanley. That Seaver looks like he's getting loosened up.
Yes, he is. His control is a lot better now. He's throwing much harder, so he's pitching very well.
Stan Musial, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on for this short period.
Very good. Fine. Thank you very much.
Clendenin takes a big cut at the first pitch and misses. And it's Don's second home run of the series on a 3-2 pitch over the 358-foot mark in left field. That is the only run of the ball game. Right back, another swing and a miss. Last time up, Clendenin was called out on strikes on a screwball on the outside corner. 2 strikes to him to be followed by Ron Swoboda and Ed Charles in this 1-0 ball game. The Mets lead. And you can hear in the background the Met fans. We are ready. Throws. Foul ball off to the right. Powell gives chase for only a couple of steps and then sees it fall into the seats. Strike 2 to Clendenin. The Mets have used their 9 right-hander lineup for the 3rd time in the series. They lost the first game to Cuellar with it. They won the second, and they're winning this one. Ground ball right back to Cuellar, who can take all the time in the world and does to throw at Clendenin for the first out.
Right fielder.
The Mets' pitching has been tremendous, but then so has Baltimore's pitching. The problem has been for the Orioles, they haven't been able to score. Beaten 2-1, and they're losing 1-0. Here's Svoboda, who is grounded to short and singled on a 2-strike pitch, and singles this time on the first pitch to left field. And Svoboda reaches first. 2 for 3 in this game, and 3 for 10 in the series.
And Charles, number 5.
Ed Charles, the batter. 1 run, 7 hits now. No errors for New York. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. With 1 out in the 7th. Charles hit a hard one-hopper to Belanger at short and struck out into a double play in the 4th. Cuellar working quickly. Fly ball left field. Buford there and has it and takes the line shot for the second out. Well hit by Charles, but Buford was only a couple of steps away. And that'll bring up Jerry Grody, who was called out, fooled in the second inning and struck out swinging in the 5th. Cuellar has struck out 5, Grody twice. Walking out on deck is Al Weiss. 1-0 New York with time running out for Baltimore. We're in the last of the 7th. Cuellar's problem right now, Svoboda on deck, just misses with a screwball outside, and it's 1 ball to Grody. In the 8th inning for Baltimore, they may go to their bench. Belanger and then Cuellar, the pitcher, is listed. And Baltimore's acting manager, Billy Hunter, might feel that the Orioles need runs, not pitching. Ground ball, 2 hops to Belanger, who will go on to first base for the 3rd out. No runs on 1 hit, the single by Svoboda. No errors and 1 left. And at the end of 7 complete, the Mets have the slim 1-0 lead.
What man can resist the clean, crisp aroma of ocean surf? Get it in new Gillette Foamy Surf Spray Shaving Cream. A new fragrance.
Before we go to the top of the 8th inning, we pause 30 seconds for station identification.
WGY, Schenectady.
The difference between the right word and the wrong word, it's been said, is like the difference between lightning and lightning bug. Which brings to mind the difference between Saratoga Vichy and its drab alternative, tap water. It's a choice between a unique, fascinating mixer or the same lackluster liquid with which one washes automobiles. And oneself. Saratoga Vichy in that green bottle with the vivid yellow label.
From New York Shea Stadium, Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell, top of the 8th inning. The Orioles trail 1-0. Mark Belanger will lead it off, and Dave May, who batted for and walked for Jim Palmer in the 7th of yesterday's ball game, is on deck and will bat for Mike Cuellar, who's all through for the day. Seaver ready to throw to Belanger, who swings and fouls the ball at the plate. So Cuellar worked 7 innings, gave up 1 run, the home run by Clendenin, 7 hits, struck out 5, and walked nobody. But Tom Seaver, counted on to throw a gem of a ball game sometime, is throwing one thus far here in the fourth game of the World Series. Breaking pitch, hit high in the air to the infield. Helson circled back, came in, now on the infield grass, and takes it for the first out. And that will bring up Dave May. As we said, he walked yesterday on the season, hit .242. 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Utility outfielder for the Baltimore Orioles.
Ladies and gentlemen, for Baltimore, batting for Cuellar.
The Orioles will have one more big shot, barring a rally here in the ninth inning, when they'll again go through their 2, 3, 4, 5 batters. And a chance to squeeze one run from Tom Seaver and the New York Met pitching staff just to tie it. May ready. Seaver throws fastball low, and it's ball 1. May hardly swung the bat at all yesterday in drawing a walk. From the tiring Gary Gentry. Back again, swings and misses this time, and it's 1-1. The Orioles, who had 6 singles in the last 2 games, including now, have 9 singles in the last almost 3 games. Breaking pitches low from Seaver, and it's 2-1. Ed Watt is up and throwing and probably will come in the last of this 8th inning in relief of Cuellar. Seaver, the fast worker, back again. Throws the fastball, and May swings and misses on it to even the count at 2 apiece. 2 balls, 2 strikes to May in the top of the 8th. The Mets, for the first time this morning, were favored to take the World Series, but not favored to win this game. But they're winning it as May strikes out. May swung at a low fastball and struck out, and that's the 5th strikeout for Seaver. Don Cardwell has just gotten up and started to throw in the Met bullpen. The first activity we've seen there this afternoon as manager Gil Hodges has a veteran ready just in case. 2 out in the 8th, and here's Don Buford. And we'll repeat again, the only extra base hits that Baltimore has had came in the first game when Buford homered and doubled. Struck out in the first on a changeup curve, hit a high chopper that forced Cuellar at second into third. That's ball 1. And grounded to Clendenin, who threw to Seaver covering in the 6th. 1-0 to Buford, who has power enough to tie the game, but fouls this one back, and it's 1-1. In the 3rd game, how's this for research? In the 3rd game of the 1935 World Series, Charlie Grimm, manager of the Chicago Cubs, was ejected. A 1-1 pitch, high in the air, should end the inning. Ed Charles waves everybody away at third base, says, "I've got it," and does. And they go down in order. No runs, hits, errors, or anybody left. In the middle of the 8th, the Mets won, and the Orioles nothing.
Let's do Yankee Doodle. Yankee Doodle, 1, 2. Down, riding on a pony, stuck a feather in his hat and called it macaroni. What did he call it? Macaroni.
After a child has been in a bad accident, how can an insurance company help him to laugh again? The Hartford knows that money alone can't do it, but people can. Doctors, specialists, therapists when they're needed, to treat the injuries, to soothe the shock. And getting them there fast can also help. At the Hartford, we know it's often the kind of help you bring in at the start that determines whether or not there'll be a happy ending. Insurance by the Hartford. We try to keep things simple.
Along with Jim Simpson, Bill O'Donnell back with you at New York Shea Stadium, and when the Mets come to bat here in the bottom of the 8th inning, they will face right-handed Baltimore reliever Eddie Watt. Watt made more trips out of the Oriole bullpen during 1969 than anybody else. He walked from there 56 times, picked up 16 saves, more saves than any other member of the relief staff. Watt's one-loss record, 5 wins and 2 defeats. And Watt also had the very best earned run average of any member on the Baltimore staff, just over a run and a half a ball game. He picks up for Cuellar, who is lifted for pinch hitter May in the top half of this inning. Cuellar worked 7 good innings, gave up 7 hits, but a very damaging blow was delivered by Clendenin in the second inning to lead it off to give the Mets a 1-0 lead, and it's been like that ever since. Cuellar did not walk a New York batter. On the other hand, the longer this ball game has progressed, the tougher Tom Seaver of the Mets has become. Seaver has retired 18 of the last 19 batters. Now, a little bit more about Eddie Watt. What is his best equipment? He's got a better-than-average fastball. His best pitch is a slider. When he gets ahead of batters, especially 1 and 2 or 0 and 2, Watt will come from strictly on top and throw the fastball. He will throw first of all against Al Weiss, and to tell you about it again, Jim Simpson.
Here's Al Weiss. 2 for 4 before today, but 2 for 2 for the day. 4 for 6 on the series. 3 walks, and a couple of RBIs. And for a .215 hitter, as we keep emphasizing, that's a pretty good series for anybody. Watt ready for his first pitch in World Series play of 1969. Strike on the outside corner. Al Weiss with Tom Seaver kneeling on deck with the jacket off. 1-0, New York. The Orioles have one more chance. Curveball hit high in the air. Buford glasses down, started back, now trots in and takes it for the first out. And here comes Tom Seaver.
Seaver, number 41.
Tom Seaver, a 25-game winner, has received a standing ovation from the New York Mets fans here at Shea Stadium. Lost the first series game, and that's the only one that the Mets have lost. Watt ready to throw to him, and there's a strike right down the middle. 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for the Mets. The 1 run, Clendenin's home run. No runs, 3 hits, no errors for the Orioles. Seaver grounds this ball to Johnson at second base, takes it on the third hop, and Tom isn't running too hard. He's thinking ahead to the top of the ninth. He's thrown out. 2 out, and Tommy Agee, yesterday's hero, who today has grounded out twice to Robinson and is single to left.
Center fielder, Tommy Agee, number 20.
If the Mets can hang on in the ninth, they will have a near commanding lead of 3 games to 1. And Baltimore would have to win the remaining 3 to take the series. New York would only have to win 1 of 3, but the game isn't over yet. Watt ready to throw to Agee, 1 for 3 on the day, and 2 for 14, and there's strike 1. Blair, Frank Robinson, and Boog Powell, and that's it. That's the heart of the Baltimore offense coming up in the 9th inning. So Seaver's not out of the woods yet. Inside, tipped off the bat of Tommy Agee, and it's fouled. Unlike Ed Charles a couple of innings ago back in the 4th, when it hit the bat and then Charles's hand, Agee apparently suffered no damage. Simply hit the bat. 2 strikes. Big Eddie Watt in relief of Cuellar, who worked 7 innings, giving up the only run of the ball game. Back again, swinging at a low and away pitch, a curveball, and Watt sets them down 1-2-3. Well, the Orioles have one more chance as we move to the top of the 9th with the Mets leading 1-0.
Let me tell you how it is between me and my Winstons.
Yeah, me and my Winstons. Me and my
This is Bill O'Donnell together with Jim Simpson, and the Mets are leading 1-0 going to the top of the ninth inning in Game 4 of the World Series. The Mets lead 2 games to 1. Yesterday, Gentry and Ryan shut out the Orioles. Seaver has shut out Baltimore today for 8 innings. He'll go against Blair, Frank Robinson, and Powell in the top of the ninth. Jim Simpson?
All right, Bill O'Donnell, and Seaver ready for his first pitch to Blair, who has walked and singled and takes a strike. And a hard slider on the outside corner. In regular season play, Baltimore was shut out 8 times, never twice in a row, as they're in danger of being here in the 1969 World Series. The last 19 innings against Mets pitching, they have not scored. Blair, who is 2 for 14, takes another strike, almost offered at it, but held back, and it's strike 2, and Seaver is quickly ahead. Don Clendenin is really whooping it up at first base, charging in on every pitch, now going back to guard the line. Outside, Clendenin at the right field line and back at first base, and Charles at third base, very close to the line. The single, they will give up. The extra base hit, they don't want to give up. Seaver ready for the 1-2 pitch. Fastball, hit out to right field. Over comes Svoboda, getting a late break on the ball, but he's there now. Taps his glove and has it. 1 out as Tug McGraw and Ron Taylor, a left-hander and right-hander, work for the Mets in the bullpen, just in case Seaver should falter.
Right fielder, Frank.
Since he walked Blair back in the 6th inning, there has not been a base runner. 9 men in a row since then. Here is Frank Robinson, who has flied very deep to Agee and has fouled out and popped up and has only had 1 hit in the series. And Robinson does not offer the fastball, low and away, ball 1. Robinson and Powell to follow, as Blair, who has already gone down on a fly ball to Svoboda, can tie this game with a swing of their bats. They are powerful. Robinson hit 32 home runs during the regular season. Seaver throws, accidentally fouled into the stands. It's 1-1. Powell to follow, hits 37 home runs during the regular season. Jerry Koosman, winner Sunday, a left-hander against Dave McNally, a loser Sunday, a left-hander. Tomorrow's matchups in the 5th game of the World Series. We'll be on the air at 12:45 Eastern Time. Seaver back, high and inside with a hard one, and it's 2-1 to Robinson. As in the case with Blair, so it is with Robinson, so it will be with Powell. Clendenin and Charles are hugging the lines. They're playing Robinson straight away and very deep. Tom Seaver looking for his first series win and his most effective performance since the season end. Foul back. The season ended with Seaver winning 10 in a row. He also won at Atlanta, but was not impressive, and then lost in Baltimore last Saturday. But he looks impressive. He looks like a 25-game winner this afternoon. And is 2 outs away from giving the Mets a commanding lead in the series. 2-2 the pitch. High in the air, and I believe it'll make the seats foul. Brody comes over, looks up, and it's 10 rows in. And Robinson, remember, the last 2 times has popped out to the first baseman Clendenin in foul territory, and to Harrelson. He's been hitting the ball high in the air since that deep fly to center field back in the 1st. Most valuable player in the National League and in the American League. The only one to do that, and facing Tom Seaver in a big game. Seaver comes back high inside, popped up, foul again. Brody comes back to the screen, looks, and it drops out of play. 5 rows deep. Robinson again hitting Seaver's balls into the air, high, popping them up. Robinson steps up. Seaver has a new ball, walks back to the mound. Boog Powell swinging that big bat while kneeling on deck off to the left. Powell furious after flying to center field on the 3-2 count back in the 6th after he had the count of 3-0. Seaver ready, 2-2. Drive, base hit into left field on a line drive. Down at Cleon Jones bobbles it, goes for it, and Robinson now holds up at first as Jones finally finds the handle and throws into the cutoff man. But the tying run is on base, and Big Boog Powell is the batter. That's just the 4th hit of Seaver And I'm sure you'll recall that at Baltimore, down a run in the ninth inning of the first league championship game, Boog Powell came to bat and hit the home run that tied it up, sent it into extra innings, and Baltimore won that game over Minnesota in impressive fashion, 3-2. Seaver has been talking to Clendenin, who again trotted over. Tug McGraw, the left-hander, Ron Taylor, the right-hander, continue to warm for the New York Mets. Powell, not only trying to tie this game with one swing, could win it. That's how tense the situation is, and he fouls the first one back, taking a big cut. Strike one. One out in the ninth, 1-0, New York. Baltimore, its last chance with one out, and Robinson at first. It is Boog Powell who is taking his time, not Seaver on the mound. Powell is back in, Seaver is ready. Here's a pitch, a curveball, grounded over the glove of Clendenin, base hit. Around second base goes Robinson on his way to third. Svoboda fires in, that's the cutoff man, and the tying run is at third base with one out. The Orioles have runners at the corner. That's the fifth hit. And Seaver finds himself in trouble with a dangerous Brooks Robinson, a 23 home run hitter during the season, 84 RBIs at the plate. Clendenin comes over, Grody marches out, a double play, and Robinson is slow, as is Powell.
Number 5.
Can get the Mets out of it. And now Gil Hodges walks slowly out. But if Robinson should hit the ball out of the infield, Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, has the speed and the cunning to score from third base. Gil Hodges, a New York writer wrote a column about Gil the other day in that big game that Koosman pitched and won in Baltimore, how Gil could remain so calm, so cool, so collected. He simply walks out, says a few words, Seaver nods in understanding, Hodges walks back, Grody marches back behind the plate. And Brooks Robinson steps in. A ball to the outfield could tie it. McGraw and Taylor continue to throw. In the Met bullpen, 1-0 the score. The Mets. We are in the ninth with one out. Boog Powell has come up with his fourth hit of this series, and it's his biggest thus far. The infield at double play depth. They'll go to... There's a ball hit to the outfield. Robinson playing it safe. Kuroda makes the dive. He's got it. Here comes Robinson in to the plate. He scores. Tie ball game. Svoboda made a tremendous catch. Had it gotten by him, Powell might have scored all the way from first base. Instead, they're two out, but the game is tied 1-1. Stepping in is Elrod Hendricks. An appeal play at third base, not allowed by third base umpire Hank Soar. Robinson on the line drive, realizing he could score if it was caught, stood near third base. Svoboda had to dive for it. He didn't go back on the ball. He cut across toward it. Dove got it in his gloved hand just before he hit the ground. Robinson had time to score as the throw was up the line. Powell held on to first. Two down, but now it's a tie game. And here's Hendricks taking outside from Seaver. And so, New York, dreaming of a 3-1 lead, must wait for a moment. It's not over yet. Hendricks also has home run power. What a play by Svoboda. Outside again from Seaver. And of course, if Seaver walks Hendricks, he'll move Powell down into scoring position. Since game 2, the Orioles have scored 2 runs, and Brooks Robinson has driven them both in. Another pitch, long drive down the line, hooking, and it is foul ball, but it is in the seats in the first deck. And Powell will have to come back. And Seaver was a couple of feet away from being behind 3-1 in the ninth. Yesterday, Buford hit one down the left field line. That would have brought Baltimore closer. Gil Hodges remains seated, hands in jacket, chewing gum on the bench. And he's got to be blinking at that. Seaver ready again. 2-1 the pitch. Low to Hendricks. 3-1, and now Seaver's in danger of moving Powell into scoring position. 1-1 the score on 2 base hits. And a beautiful catch of by Sabota, Brooks Robinson's line drive, and Robinson scored after the catch. Fouled away by Hendricks. In on the hands, and he fouled it off to the left behind the plate. 3-2. Infield is back. They're pulling Hendricks again to pull to the right. Weiss is way around toward first base. Big hole between Weiss and the shortstop, Harrelson. Seaver ready on 3-2. Long drive. Right field. Swoboda comes over toward it. Reaches up and takes it to the third out. Ron Swoboda makes all 3 putouts. One of those sensational catch, but it's all tied on the 2 base hits. And in the middle of the ninth, New York won. Baltimore won.
Hi, this is Joe Garagiola for Dodge. And if 1 month's sales figures can predict the success of a car for the rest of the year, the Dodge boys have a big winner for 1970. The figures for September are in. And now, well, listen to this. The total is way over that of a year ago and establishes a brand new September record for Dodge. Now, one reason for that record-breaking total of Dodge sales has got to be Dodge Coronet. For 1970, Coronet comes on with new styling touches throughout, including its unique double-loop grille and vinyl interior touches. Like luxury? We'll simply say Coronet 500. You get bucket seats, 318 cubic inch V8, 3-spoke steering wheel, and more. So get the Coronet story at your Dodge boys. See him after the game for a test drive, and tell him that Joe Garagiola sent you.
Bill O'Donnell along with Jim Simpson getting ready for the bottom of the ninth inning. The Orioles have just tied the Mets at 1-1. And for the Mets in the bottom of the ninth inning, it'll be their 2, 3, and 4 batters. Harrelson, Jones, and Clendenin against the right-hander reliever Eddie Watt, who's set down the side in order in the bottom of the 8th inning in relief of Cuellar. Harrelson stepping in, and right with him, Jim Simpson.
All right, Bill. Harrelson singled the first time up. Was thrown out on a close play and fouls this ball off, strike 1. It's all up to Eddie Watt now. Tie ball game, last of the ninth, with the Mets having their 2, 3, 4 hitters coming up, including Cleon Jones, who's overdue, and Don Clendenin, who has hit a home run. Watt throws outside and low to the dangerous Bud Harrelson, and it's 1-1. A couple of pitchers, including Dick Hall and the left-hander, I believe it's Rickert, throwing in the bullpen for Baltimore. Inside with the slider, but it's on the inside corner, says Shag Crawford. Strike 2 to Harrelson. Harrelson has had 3 base hits in 11 times at bat and has walked 3 times. Outside from Watt, who works very quickly, 2-2. And Bud has been just an excellent fielding shortstop all through this series. It is Hall and Rickert in that bullpen. Ground ball, chopper, over the glove of Watt. In comes Johnson. Sidearm throw. He's got him. Close play. Just went over the extended glove of Eddie Watt, breaking off the mound, and Johnson came in, tapped his glove before he got the ball, figuring he had Harrelson all the way. Sidearm to throw on and had him. And here is Cleon Jones, a .340 hitter. During the regular season, we will emphasize again, but 1 for 15 in this the World Series. We said something like that about Frank Robinson in the top of the ninth inning, and Robinson came up with his second hit and scored the tying run. Don Clendenin, the home run hitter, is standing on deck, swinging the weighted bat. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for Baltimore. 1 run, 7 hits, no errors for the Mets. Watt is ready. Breaking pitch outside and low. It's ball 1. This is the second inning that Eddie Watt has worked in this World Series. Another breaking pitch, and this misses also. And a check of the record shows that Watt never went more than 3 innings all year long. He is the short man of the Orioles relief corps. 2-0 the count to Jones. Jones out ahead of Watt, who's running 2 breaking pitches. Comes back with a hard slider this time and has him, and it's 2-1. Now the Met fans calming for the moment. They've seen their dreams of a third consecutive win go by the boards for the moment as Baltimore's tied it up. It's 1-1 in the last of the ninth. Ground ball. Robinson comes over beyond his glove. Base hit. And Cleon Jones has delivered just as Frank Robinson did with his second hit of the series. And so the go-ahead, the winning run is on at first base, and Don Clendenon the batter. That's the first hit off Eddie White, the 8th hit for the Mets. Clendenon, back in the second inning, hit a 3-2 pitch to left over the 358-foot side. Now Watt is a right-hander. The National League book on Clendenon is keep the ball in tight. His first home run of this series was hit on a low and away pitch off Dave McNally. Watt ready, throws a breaking pitch, gets the outside corner, and it's strike one. In that game against McNally, Clendenon went with that outside pitch and hit the ball for a home run to right field. Strike one the count. Jones on at first, breaking pitch, fouled off to the right. And it's strike two as it goes deep into the seats behind first base. Well, this has been quite a series. First of all, nobody thought the amazing Mets would win it. They did, took 3 straight from Atlanta. Lost that first game after Powell tied it with a home run. I'm talking about the Orioles now. They lost the first game to Mike Cuellar 4-1, and everybody said that's it, but they've come back to take 2 in a row and had this one within their grasp. Swing and a miss, and Clendenon goes down, and that's the second out and a big one for Eddie Watt. Ron Swoboda will perhaps save the game with a diving catch, a Brooks Robinson sacrifice line drive, the batter. And more importantly, the last 2 times up, Swoboda got base hits. This is the first time, though, he has faced the right-hander, Eddie Watt. Swoboda has power, can hit the home run. Watt throws him a breaking pitch, drive to right field. Swooping back was Robinson, now in on the dead run, has to trap the ball. And on the third base goes the runner, Cleon Jones, and now with 2 outs, New York has runners at the corners. Robinson appeared to break back on the ball and then in, and by the time he got in, it was too late. Ed Charles is due up, but Art Shamsky, a 300 hitter and a left-handed hitter, has walked out. The Baltimore infield has shortened up. The outfield has shortened up, figuring that any ball hit deep to the outfield is going to score the winning run anyhow. Blair is in short center field. Buford and Robinson walking in left and right. They only need 1 out, 2 outs with Harrelson's ground out and Clendenon's strikeout, but Jones is perched at third, and Swoboda, who robbed Brooks Robinson of a hit and perhaps saved the game, has kept the Mets alive in this 1-1 game with a Texas League single to right. And Shamsky, the 300 hitter and a good hitter, comes out to face Eddie Watt. Shamsky in the series, still looking for his first base hit. 0 for 4. 1 run, 9 hits, no errors for the Mets. Clendenon had a second inning homer. 1 run, 5 hits, no errors for the Orioles, with the Orioles getting their only run in the top of this, the 9th inning. Now Eddie Watt has stepped back on and is ready to pitch to Shamsky. They play him to pull. Swings, ground ball toward Johnson. Johnson takes it on the second out, throws to Powell. We go to extra innings. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, and 2 left at the end of 9. Baltimore 1 and New York 1.
With Mr. Dan.
I've got an important message for you about cars, even if you don't drive a car. It's about the anti-pollution team. Phillips 66 gasolines and Trop Arctic motor oils. By
From Shea Stadium in New York, an excited and capacity-filled 57,367 looking on at the first extra-inning World Series game since the fifth game of 1964, when the Cardinals, across town at Yankee Stadium, beat the Yankees 5-2 in 10 innings. The Orioles fighting back, and had they lost this game 1-0 to the Mets, they would have been down 3-1. Now they have a real chance to tie it and even the series at 2 games apiece. In the 10th inning, Wayne Garrett has gone on to third base to replace Ed Charles. And Dave Johnson, Mark Belanger, and a possible pinch hitter for the Orioles as we move to the 10th. And again, Bill O'Donnell.
Thank you, Jim. And Severs pitched to Johnson. Right down the middle, he piped it for strike 1. Johnson is 0 for 3. Bounced into a force play. And Jones robbed him of a base hit in the 5th inning. He also is struck out. A curve is slashed towards third, through the legs of Garrett, and it's rolling over into foul ground after it bounced fair. Holding at first base is Johnson. A one-hot smash right to the glove and between the legs of Garrett. It either touched the leg or the glove of Garrett and then rolled foul. So a base hit by Johnson through Garrett at third base to begin the top of the 10th inning. Garrett, as Jim told you, just came on to play third defensively for Charles, who was lifted for Shamsky as the pinch hitter in the bottom of the 9th inning. Here in the top of the 10th, Johnson aboard at first base and nobody out, and the batter is Mark Belanger. They've changed it now, and they have charged Garrett with an error. No base hit for Johnson. They pitch out. Johnson was not running. Belanger was squared to bunt. Take away the base hit given to Johnson and instead charge third baseman Garrett with an error. 1 strike is the count to Belanger. The look to first base by Seaver. Here he fires Belanger, who squares, bunts it up in the air and foul ground, and it's caught by the catcher Brody to the right of home plate, just about 10 feet to the right side. Belanger got his bat under a breaking ball from Seaver, foul popped it, and Grody squeezed it for the out. Clay Dalrymple will make a pinch-hitting appearance now in the top of the 10th inning. Dalrymple, who was with the Phillies in 1968 and who was acquired during the winter for a minor league outfielder, Ron Stone. Dalrymple has made an appearance before in this series and has had an infield base hit. Weiss smothered the ground ball, but Dalrymple wound up with the base hit. 1 away, Belanger attempting to bunt and sacrifice, trying to move Johnson to second base, has just fouled out. Dick Hall is working in the Oriole bullpen. Dalrymple bats from the left side, and Seaver throws him low, ball 1. Clendenin is checking against Johnson at first base. 1 away in the top of the 10th inning. Orioles and the Mets in a 1-1 tie in the 4th game of the series. The set at the belt by Seaver. His pitch. Here's a line drive. Base hit out into center field. Johnson heads for second, stays there. Agee throws towards third base. The Orioles have 2 aboard with 1 out, and they bring up Don Buford. So Dalrymple has come to the plate twice during the World Series as a pinch hitter, and twice has delivered a base hit. Rube Walker, the Mets pitching coach, coming to the mound, asking Seaver if he's strong, trying to find out if he's tired. The Mets have left and right-handers warming in the bullpen, Taylor the right-hander, and McGraw the left-hander. Walker has had the few quick words with both Brody and Seaver, and now Rube going back to additionally chat with his manager, Gil Hodges. The only inning in which Seaver had trouble early in the ball game was in the 3rd, and then he got in trouble again in the 9th. Seaver's in a jam again here in the 10th. Dalrymple at first, Johnson off second. Buford batting from the left side is thrown a low curve by Seaver, ball 1. Johnson is Baltimore's go-ahead run here in the top of the 10th inning off second base, plus Dalrymple off first. Fastball. Here's a high fly, deep right field. Svoboda's on the warning track. He makes the catch. Johnson tags at second. Johnson's on his way to third. The ball is cut off at second base by the shortstop, Harrelson. So runners are at the corners, but Seaver picks up his second out.
Number 6.
Svoboda backed about 15 feet on the warning track in dead right field. 2 away, and that will bring on Paul Blair. Blair has been a base runner twice against Seaver, with a single in the first inning, with a walk in the 6th inning. Blair has only 2 hits in this series. He's played tight at third, wide of the line by Garrett. Clendenin is holding against the runner at first base, Dalrymple. Johnson coming a couple of steps down the line at third. Seaver looks to third, checks over the other shoulder to first, throws, a swing and a big miss. Blair took as hard a rip as he could, and Seaver's ahead of him, 1 strike with 2 out and 2 on. Frank Robinson is on deck. Garrett bluffs Johnson back towards third. Dave leads off the bag. The pitch to Blair. Swings and misses again. Seaver reaching back for something extra and popping fastballs past Blair. 2 strikes to Blair. Dalrymple, the runner at first. Johnson is off third. Seaver checking Brody's wig-wagging, takes a quick glance to first base. Sets, delivers 0-2. A curve, it just missed the outside corner. He took something off the breaking pitch and couldn't bite the outer edge of the plate. Blair a couple of waves of the bat. Seaver glancing over the left shoulder again. Blair on 1-2. Swings and outside curve, and Seaver gets out of a serious jam in the top of the 10th inning. No runs, 1 hit for Baltimore, 1 error for the Mets, 2 left in the middle of the 10th inning. New York 1 and Baltimore 1.
Second floor refrigerators, formerly $195, now $215, going up.
If you had a fire in your home today and had to replace everything, this is what you'd find when you went shopping.
Third floor, living room sofas, formerly $210, now $225, going up.
Basic things have gone up 5, 10, 20%. Then there's the cost of your house itself. This is why the Hartford invented Inflation Guard, the first homeowner's insurance policy that protects you against inflation automatically. To keep up with rising replacement costs, the Hartford boosts the value of your policy every 3 months.
Sixth floor, rugs, carpet.
New Inflation Guard. The way prices are always going up, can you afford to be without it? Insurance by the Hartford. We try to keep things simple.
We pause 30 seconds for station identification.
WGY, Schenectady.
Saratoga Ginger Ale is not Saratoga Vichy with ginger flavor added. We're not sure where that rumor got started, though we have our ideas. In any event, what Saratoga Ginger Ale is a quite unusual, delicious drink with its own identity altogether. It's gingery without being snappish, mellow without being gooey, altogether luscious. But then the Saratoga people do everything in good taste.
From New York Shea Stadium, Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell. Big Dick Hall, 6'2½", a veteran of the major leagues and 39 years old, has come on to pitch. 5-2 on the year, fine earned run average of 1.91. And if you'll recall, Hall in that first game of the league championships was a hero in the series between the Orioles and Minnesota. This game is all tied at 1-1. And we are in the last of the 10th inning with Brody Weiss and Seaver listed to bat against Hall. Eddie Watt came on, pitched 2 innings, did not give up a run. The Mets have only 1, as do the Orioles. Gave up 2 hits and struck out 2 and was in trouble in the 9th inning until they got the pinch hitter Art Shamsky to bounce to Johnson to get him out of it. So now we're in the last of the 10th, and here's Jerry Grody and Bill O'Donnell.
Dick Hall, during the regular season for the Orioles, made a total of 39 relief appearances, had an earned run average of less than 2 runs a game. He has outstanding control, and his statistics prove it. Only 9 walks in 66 innings of work. pitching to the Mets and to Grote in the 10th. A foul straight back by Grote for strike one. Hall has a sneaky slider and a sneaky fastball. He is not overpoweringly quick with the fastball. He's just sneaky quick. One strike delivery. He changes up and goes outside high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Watt went 2 innings in relief of starter Mike Cuellar. Here's Hall, 1-1 to Grote. It's high and gets away from catcher Hendricks. 2 balls and 1 strike. Grote fanned twice against Cuellar, looking in the 2nd, swinging in the 5th, and rolled out in the 7th inning to short. Hauled into his windup, leaning forward and rearing back. Throws. Here's a high pop-up down the right field foul side. Johnson chasing, Powell chasing. They won't get to it. It's way down the right field side now to play in the seats. Paul had a new lease on baseball life for 1969 after being cut loose by the Phillies to become a free agent. 2-2 pitch. He's high and tight to make it 3-2. Paul did not have a contract when he went to spring training with Baltimore and Miami and pitched his way on the Baltimore staff to come back with the club and gain a contract. The pay pitch to Grote. Swings and it's a fly ball out into left field. Buford with a late start. Buford coming. He won't get to it, nor does Belanger. The throw is to second base and not in time. Grote slides in with a 2-bagger. Belanger went back on a sky-high looping fly ball out into left field, fairly shallow in left field. Buford stood flat-footed, made a late charge on the ball. Buford actually was further away from the ball than was Belanger, and Belanger just could not reach it. Buford may have lost the flight of the ball in the sun. Buford recovered, threw to Johnson at second base, but late to get the sliding Grote, but the throw was right on the target. Now Grote will be lifted for a pinch runner with a winning run for the Mets at second base. Rod Gasper will run for Grote.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. For New York, at second base, running for Grote, number 17.
There's nobody out in the bottom of the 10th inning. Weiss is now the man on the spot. Weiss has 2 base hits today, has 4 hits in the series, and Seaver is on deck. The 2-bagger by Grote is the first double in the ballgame. Grote has been lifted, Gasper is the runner, and they will walk Weiss intentionally for a play at any base in the infield on a ground ball. Ball 1 has been thrown wide to Weiss. Hall throwing the second one wide for ball 2. Harden, right-hander, Rickard, left-hander, still firing in the Oriole bullpen. Here's ball 3 wide, and a quick throw to second base by Hendricks as Gasper was 2 steps away from the bag and then got back. 3-0 on the 4th intentional pitch for ball 4. Weiss has drawn an intentional walk. That is also the first walk given up by Baltimore pitching today. They are going to pull Tom Seaver. J.C. Martin, who is a left-handed batter. Martin is being sent from the dugout. George Bamberger, the Oriole pitching coach, is also coming out of the Baltimore dugout. The Orioles have had Harden and Rickard throwing out in their left field bullpen the last 2 innings. The strategy to walk Weiss because the important man is Gasper at second base. So the Orioles figure if they get a ground ball to the infield, they've got a force situation at either third or second. Bamberger has gone to the mound. Bamberger has not gone to his bullpen. As Bamberger walks towards the dugout, he starts looking to Billy Hunter, then walks back. Billy Hunter has been running the Oriole ball club, and Bamberger has pointed to the bullpen for the left-hander, Pete Rickard. Rickard and Watt are considered the co-captains of the Oriole bullpen. They are the late-inning relievers. Rickert, a former National Leaguer of many years ago who was with the Dodgers. Then came to the American League with Washington. Then came to the Orioles in the deal that Baltimore and Washington pulled off when Rickert was exchanged for Mike Epstein. Jim?
J.C. Martin, and I don't know now whether or not he will bat. We'll have to wait to see after Rickert gets in. Martin is a left-handed batter, but I'll recall for you that in Atlanta, with an extra base hit as a pinch hitter, and one of the moves by Gil Hodges, Martin, with an extra base hit, cleared the bases and helped break that first game of the league championships wide open. Now, remember the situation in this 1-1 ball game with New York out in front in games, 2-1. There is nobody out. Gasper is on at second base. Weiss, with the intentional walk, is on at first base. And it might be that J.C. Martin will be allowed to bat, but to bunt, simply to move them over into scoring position, so that just a ball hit to the outfield or deep to the infield could score. J.C. Martin will bat. Men at first and second, none out. Last of the 10th, 1-1. The Mets trying to move out in front, 3-1. Martin could be up to bunt. Bill?
Jim, the left-hand arm of Pete Rickert out of the Oriole bullpen against the left-hand swinging pinch hitter J.C. Martin. Runners for the Mets at second and at first and nobody out. He squares, he bunts down the first base side. Rickert fields, throws, and it hits the runner. Here's the runner coming on from third base, Gasper, and the Mets win the ball game by a score of 2-1. Rickert took the bunt through to first base, but it hit J.C. Martin on the leg before it got to the bag. Gasper was running from second to third when Gasper saw Rickert's throw hit Martin, and the ball then caromed towards the left of the first base foul line into the infield. Gasper kept right on coming, and Gasper has scored. And the Mets in the 10th inning have won the fourth game of the World Series by a score of 2-1. And the Mets now lead in the World Series 3 victories to 1. The final score of the fourth game of the World Series again, New York 2, Baltimore 1.
Jim Simpson along with Bill O'Donnell, and wherever you are, overseas with our armed forces or in Latin or Central America, we hope that you will be with us tomorrow for the game between Baltimore and the New York Mets. Baltimore won the first game 4-1, but since then it's been all the Mets. 2-1 with Kuzman the winner. 5-0 with Gentry the winner yesterday, and Seaver winning in 10 innings, 2-1 today. Jim Simpson with Bill O'Donnell from Shea Stadium, New York. The Mets lead it 3-1. The final score once again in the fourth game of the World Series, New York 2, Baltimore 1 in 10 innings. This has been an NBC Radio Network production.
Baseball is